Divine Sword of the Douluo Spiritual Pearl. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251 Noble Circle Telegraph Communication Techniques. Just when Tianlin and Zuking were reminiscing about the past, a servant said something in Prince Zuxing's ear, probably informing him of Zuking's arrival point, because Prince Zuxing turned his head and glanced here when he noticed Tianlin, who had disappeared for 2 years. The hostility in his eyes was undisguised point in his heart. Tianlin is completely loyal to Zuking's faction. For him who supports Zubeng, it is not surprising that he is hostile to Tianlin point, but the problem is that his performance is too obvious. At this time, shouldn't he be like Zubeng and keep a low profile? It seems that over the years, the Xiandao Empire has undergone changes that are different from those in the original work. Zuking also noticed Prince Zuxing's hostility towards Tianlin and frowned. He was more angry with Tianlin than with himself. At this time, a melodious harp sound began to resound throughout Yuxin. Whether it was Prince Zuxing or Zuking, the trace of fire that had just risen suddenly disappeared. Tang Yuhua has already started playing in the center of Yuxin, and some other beautiful noble girls, even Princess Zuk, are helping her accompany her, known as the most beautiful music in the Xiandao Empire. It makes people feel peaceful. Tianlin had to admit that if he didn't have the Holy Spirit bead, coming here to receive baptism would help him quickly master the murderous aura in his body. Tianlin could clearly feel that a soft wave emanated from Tang Yuhua's body, elegant and natural, as if it could soothe all the resentment and sorrow in the world. This is Tang Yuhua's field of talent, the Noble Circle, which has no other effect except to soothe people's hearts. Demon Suppression Domain. Tianlin opened a very small circle of demon suppressing areas on his body to prevent himself from being affected by this noble ring point, because this noble circle makes people immersed in it unconsciously. Even if it is as strong as Zuking, its real combat power has already matched that of a titled Douluo. At this time, they are still closing their eyes and enjoying the wonderful music. Brother Xianmeng, I guess Tang Yuhua's method of delivering messages should be related to her talent field. Use your mental power to feel it. Is there anything abnormal here? This time is actually the best time to pass on the news, because Tang Yuhua has just received the information, and she has never left Tianlin's sight until now. Under normal circumstances, no one would think that she had passed on the news during this period. Opportunity to go out, thereby ignoring the present and only focusing on what she will do later. That is to say, once there is a focus in the field of vision, there will naturally be a blind spot. Leave it to brother Tianmeng. Binkan closed his eyes and felt no matter how wonderful this noble circle is, it is just a method that acts on the spirit. Under the millions of years of Tianmeng Iceworm's mental power, there is no way to escape it. Zhao Xian, the second person from the left in the third row of the auditorium, the mental fluctuations he receives are different from others. Others' mental waves are transmitted to the spirit in a continuous rhythm, but he is intermittent, like the sound of the drums is the same. Very regular, intermittent, very regular. I seem to have seen this method somewhere before. Tianlin tried to recall in his mind. By the way, it's a telegram. He finally remembered. Isn't this method the same as the modern telegraph method? Tang Yuhua's noble ring cannot directly transmit sound from the soul, but as long as the opponent does not resist, it is okay to cut the music being played intermittently in the middle. In this way, the recipient only needs to remember the beat. The Haotian sect should have a similar code book. Tang Yuhua does not need to hand the letter directly to anyone, so that the Haotian sect can check the information on its own. What a great method. No wonder we haven't been able to find the Haotian sect through you for so many years. Tianlin sighed secretly. Tang Yuhua's intelligence is directly proportional to the strength of Haotian double star. If what happened back then had not happened, and the three brothers and sisters had cooperated sincerely, the development of Haotian sect would have far exceeded that of the current 7 treasures glazed sect. After all, who could discover such a method? Those spies didn't know when Tang Yuhua passed the information on to whom, even though he usually pays attention to her. Under the influence of the noble circle, his mind is immersed in the music. Point after the song, Tang Yuhua stood up and bowed gracefully toward the audience, expressing his gratitude to all the guests. The audience burst into thunderous applause. Her musical attainments were so superb that everyone forgot about time and their own identity and just enjoyed it quietly. Tianlin's mouth moved slightly and the sound was transmitted to Oslo, who was applauding crazily. Oslo was still shouting loudly, "Mrs. Yu is the best, and Princess Zook is so proud." When he heard Tianlin's message, he first looked over in confusion, then showed a rare serious look and nodded towards Tianlin. Using his ingenious movement skills, he shuttled through the crowd and disappeared without a trace. Others couldn't notice Tianlin's little movements, but they couldn't hide it from Zuking. What Zyroshan secretly transmitted to Oslo, even I can't tell. He was a little angry and a little jealous at the same time. He could only discuss something with Oslo, but kept it from him. Could it be because they had not seen each other for 2 years and their relationship had weakened? Zuking also moved his mouth slightly and transmitted a secret message to an attendant, ordering him to follow Oslo closely and not to touch him, but he must find out what he was doing. Zuking's actions also couldn't be hidden from Tianlin. Tianlin smiled slightly. This was exactly what he wanted. There were some things that were better left to Qinrinxu to investigate by herself. Even if she didn't show up today, he would find a way to guide her in the future. After the performance, Tianlin said goodbye to Tang Yuhua and left Yuxuan with Zuking. However, he could not go home today and was forced back to the East Palace by Zuking. He knew that if he didn't explain his affairs clearly today, he might not be able to leave. In desperation, Tianlin had no choice but to tell Zuking the details of his trip to the Killing City. For example, Hulina was controlled by him and received the inheritance of Shura God. These things must not be mentioned, but it does not matter in the realm of the god of killing. After all, Tang Heo had that thing, and so did her mother. To her, it was far inferior to her angelic realm. I see, you went to the Killing City. No wonder every time I asked the teacher, he hesitated to talk to me. Your Rangrang and younger brother Guran also kept saying that they didn't know where you were going. Brother Zhu, the only ones who know about this are my master and Uncle Ning. Don't blame them. You also know how dangerous the Killing City is, and they are also afraid that you will worry. Tianlin and Ningfeng learned. Many scenes also touched on Qinrinxu's weaknesses. It is precisely because she knows how dangerous the Killing City is. If she knew, she would not allow Tianlin to go, so he could only choose to kill first and then leave without saying goodbye. Chapter 252 Changes in Qiandao City. The mysterious title Douluo. Tianlin and Zuking chatted for a long time. Tianlin could tell everything that happened in the past 2 years. Basically, there are 9 truths and 1 falsehood, which makes it easier for people to believe. After listening, Zuking didn't care about anything else. Instead, he frowned and said, "You really broke through the barrier with that Ulina, and she didn't use any tricks to deal with you on the way." Tianlin shook his head. "No, they are actually pretty good. Besides, if we didn't cooperate sincerely at that time, both of us might have died. This woman is not a good thing. Remember to stay away from her in the future." Zuking suddenly said loudly, looking very unhappy. "Brother Zhu, are you familiar with Ulina? How do you know she is not a good person?" "Well, I heard that a woman who uses charm as her main fighting method can be a serious person." Zuking also realized that he had overreacted. In fact, she didn't hate Ulina, but she was very jealous of her. Almost all of Bibidang's family affection was devoted to her, but her own daughter could not enjoy it at all. Moreover, the charm of that flirtatious fox was so great that she was now deeply afraid that Tianlin would also be tempted away by that fox. "Don't worry, Brother Zhu, Hulina and I are just using each other, and we won't have a deep friendship with her." Tianlin promised emphatically, but when he said it, he whispered in his heart, "I just controlled each other, and I didn't intend to have a deep friendship with her." This is not a lie. After hearing what Tianlin said, Zuking nodded with satisfaction. Seeing that her mood improved, Tianlin asked about some strange sights he saw after arriving in Qiandao City. By the way, brother Zhu, I found something strange in Qiandao City. The relationship between nobles and commoners is different from usual. It's completely different. The nobles still look down on the common people, but they don't exploit them. It's like two parallel lines, not interfering with each other. Also, why did Prince Snowstar suddenly show so much hostility to me just now? You are observing very carefully. Oslo didn't tell you about this just now. Also, his family is just a small nobleman. How dare he talk about royal matters in public? Zuking sighed. This a few years ago, my father suddenly fell seriously ill and his health became worse day by day. Many government affairs in the palace were slowly transferred to the East Palace and I handled them. I have tightened the restrictions on the soul masters and the aristocracy, so you can see that they are clearly separated from the common people. Everything was going well at first, but one day, Emperor Zuxing suddenly wrote a letter to impeach me in the morning. They said that I ignored the interests of the nobles, acted against the will, and openly supported Zhu Beng. At the same time, as if I had agreed, most of the nobles turned against Zhu Beng. If I hadn't been in business for many years and had some influence in the court, I would have been killed by them. After being overthrown in the court now, it's basically our East Palace side competing against Zhu Beng's side. What? Tianlin was shocked. There was no need to consider the sudden illness of Emperor Zhuai. He could guess it. It must be Kan Ringsu. He had already learned from Hulina that the soul hunting operation had started in advance. But what's going on with the avalanche? Shouldn't he continue to pretend to be a playboy? Now that Zuking has not yet revealed the incident, he can't wait to jump out. Is it because he thinks he has lived too long? Brother Zhu, if that's the case, why didn't you eradicate the root cause? Tianlin asked directly. Since the last incident, Tianlin had not wanted to kill Zhu Beng for a day or two. Even if Zuking really did it, he would not do it. I can only clap my hands and applaud. Zuking shook his head. It's easier said than done. My brother is so secretive. Xiaoshan, do you know what level the avalanche is now? How many? Close to level 60. Apart from you, he is almost the same as everyone else in the Imperial fighting team. How is it possible to be close to the Soul Emperor level? Tianlin was really a little unbelievable this time. Although Zhu Beng in the original book did not practice hard in order to save his life, his talent was not much higher back then. Tianlin could make him unable to fight back with one hand. At that time, he was less than level 40. How could he reach nearly 20 levels in just 4 years? But to be honest, although this level is surprising, a quasi-soul emperor alone does not seem to be enough to make Kan Ringsu helpless. After all, there are two titled Douluo beside her at this time. Zuking continued. Not only that, there is also a titled Douluo beside him, his whole body hidden under the black robe. I don't know who that person is, but he is extremely strong. Not his match. Zhu King's most powerful subordinates are the 3 educational committee members of Qiandao Royal Academy and a general of the Imperial City Imperial Army. The 3 educational committee members are Sword Douluo, and the general is Soul Saint. They are indeed not titled Douluo opponent. No wonder Zhu Beng dared to show his true face with such arrogance. But Tianlin knew that things would not be that simple. Zuking might have sent Snakespear Douluo and Galilia Douluo to try it a long time ago, but Zhu Beng is still alive and well, so there is only one proof that the strength of this mysterious title Douluo was far superior to the 2 men in Zuking's hands. Oh, by the way, not only that, your good friend brother Tang also got involved with Zhu Beng. Brother Tang? You mean Tang-san? Hearing Zuking mention Tang-san, Tianlin was slightly surprised, but he was just surprised, not surprised at all. Now Tang-san is not talented enough, and he has not gone to the killing city, so he must have without the favor of the sect elders. Tang Heo would naturally find other ways to return to the sect. What can represent a person's value, in addition to his own talent and strength, is his power. Tang Heo hopes that Tang-san can get the support of the Qiandao Empire. Originally, Xingluo might be a better choice, but unfortunately, Daimubei has been deposed by Davis. Now the royal family inheritance in Xingluo is very stable. He had no room to interfere. It happened that Zhu Beng suddenly appeared on Qiandao's side. If Tang-san could help him ascend the throne, He would definitely get a lot of benefits from it. As for why Zuking was not chosen, it was because providing help in times of need was always more valuable than icing on the cake, and Zuking already had Tianlin by his side. How high would Tang San's status be if he went there again? It happened that Zhu Beng also took a fancy to the identity of Tang San's descendant of Haoshan and the son of Haoshan Douluo, and the two hit it off. In that case, brother Zhu, do you think the man in black is Tang Hao? Tianlin guessed, absolutely not. Zuking shook his head resolutely. I have seen Tang Hao's earth-shattering strike in Wuhan Palace. Although this black title is powerful, it should not be far from Tang Hao's realm. Who could that be? There are only so many named Douluo on the mainland, but the one in Zhu Beng's hand is unheard of. Tianlin scanned all the title Douluo in his memory and found that none of them matched. No, he touched his chin and said, it seems that I have to find a way to investigate. Tianlin must find out the truth about things that are separated from the original plot. Maybe it has something to do with his little butterfly. No, Xiaoshan, I'm already investigating him. Don't act recklessly. That title Douluo is extremely powerful. If he discovers it, even you may be in danger. Zuking didn't know that Tianlin had different worries in his heart and urged him anxiously, don't worry, brother Zhu, I won't act rashly. Even if I have to do something, I will bring my master with me. The more unknown things are, the more attention they need to pay. This is the simplest truth, and Tianlin certainly knows it. Hearing what he said, Zuking felt relieved. With Chen's in there would be no problem. The two titled Douluo she sent last time were both only at level 92. According to them, although they were no match for the mysterious man, they could definitely escape unscathed. If that title Douluo didn't hide his strength, his level would be at most 95, and he had not reached the 96th level. That would trigger a qualitative change. Although he was still considered very strong, he could never beat Shenzin's opponent. Tianlin finished explaining the matter, said goodbye to Zuking and left. At this moment, an uninvited guest came to the Qibao Glazed sect. Chapter 253 Tang Hao's arrival to information. Tianlin flew back to the sect with his sword, and Ning Rangrang was waiting for him at the gate. Brother Jian, you are finally back. Dad asked me to wait for you here. As soon as you come back, he will let you go to the main hall. There are guests coming. Guest? What kind of guest? Tianlin asked in confusion. As the #1 auxiliary sect in the world, there are usually many visitors. For example, Taitan asked the sect to send an auxiliary soul master to help him hunt for the 8th soul ring. Under normal circumstances, Ning Fengzi would not refuse these small requests. With this method, the Qibao Glazed sect has accumulated a lot of favors from outside over the years, but usually, Ning Fengzi never let him take care of these things. Ning Rangrang shook his head and said, I don't know him. When that man came, he was wrapped in a grey robe. He was very mysterious. However, I always felt that his figure was somewhat familiar. In that case, then you can go with me. Maybe you are an acquaintance. Tianlin took Ning Rangrang's hand and rushed to the main hall. Together in the main hall at this time, under the sect leader's seat in the 4 titled Douluo seats, the grey-robed man Ning Rangrang was talking about was also sitting on a table and chair drinking tea. This means that this person's strength or status is extremely high. Otherwise, no matter how much etiquette Ning Fengzi practices, he would not be able to just show up and let him sit on an equal footing with the 4 sect protector Douluo. Tianlin stepped forward and said, Uncle Ning, I'm back. Who is this? The man in grey robe lifted his hat, revealing an extremely weathered face, and said in a deep voice, long time no see, Jianjun boy, it's me, Tang Hao. Tianlin immediately recognized the person. It turned out to be Tang Hao. No wonder he wanted to hide himself for fear of being discovered by Wuhan Palace. No wonder Ning Rangrang said he was familiar with him. After all, she had seen Tang Hao rescuing people in Wuhan Palace. Xiaoshan, don't be rude. You should call me Haoshan man. Ning Fengzi said. Tang Hao is not an enemy today, so the 7 Treasures Glazed sect cannot lose its courtesy towards the visiting title Douluo. No, I don't care about these things. Tang Hao stood up and came. Tianlin, I came today for 2 things. The first one is that I have collected the 70,000-year-old soul bones that I promised you. Now I leave it to you." As he spoke, Tang Heo passed his arm, and there seemed to be a storage soul guide hidden in his sleeve. 3 yellow, black, and red soul bones suddenly appeared, floating in front of him. They are a left arm bone, a right leg bone and a right arm bone. These 3 pieces are the 35,000-year-old Thousand Jun and left arm bone, the 20,000-year-old bloodthirsty right leg bone, and the 20,000-year-old volcanic orangutan right arm bone. How about meeting the requirements of your 7 treasure glazed sect? Come on, there are 5,000 more years, I'll give it as a bonus. Tang Heo introduced. Looking at these 3 soul bones, Ning Rangrang was also surprised. They were all soul bones that were more than 20,000 years old. There were still some soul bones stored in their sect, but the quality was far inferior to these 3. She did not knowing what happened back then. I was still wondering why Tang Heo had given them such a big gift for no reason. Tianlin noticed that among the 3 soul bones, the left arm bone of the giant ant belonged to the Titan family, and the right arm bone of the volcano gorilla should be the prize of the blacksmith competition. After all, it increases strength and has fire attributes, so it is most suitable for a blacksmith. The last right leg bone could be the one from Damu Bei in the original work. It seems that Tang Heo took advantage of the time when Tang San followed Zhu Beng to go to the edge of the continent to kill wolf thieves Ning Feng's. He accepted the 3 soul bones and said, "Yes, your majesty Heoshan, since you have fulfilled your promise, the past between you and my 7 treasures glazed sect has been wiped out." You said there was a second thing before. Let's explain it together now. The second thing is what I saw when I went to the edge of the continent to hunt the wolf bandits. Look. Tang Heo released 7 corpses from his soul guide, which looked disgusting. However, all those present were soul masters. Even Ning Rangrang was slightly uncomfortable at most and recovered quickly. Tianlin had seen hundreds of corpses in the killing city. At this point, I couldn't even make him move. Tang Heo, since the place you are going to is a fringe area, where there are few regular soul masters and lack of military protection, it is a paradise for evil soul masters and wolf thieves. Is it normal for there to be killings there? Tianlin puzzled. Tang Heo shook his head. If there were just a few people, I wouldn't find it strange at all. However, where I went, 5 small towns or villages were completely slaughtered. There were no less than 10,000 dead, and they all died in different ways. I just brought 7 typical ones and sent them over. What did you say? Even Ning Fengzi lost his composure this time. 10,000 lives are not a trivial matter, no matter where they are. Although Xiandao Star and Luo Wuhan Palace were not in charge of it, something like this happened. There was a huge killing, but no news came out at all. If Tang Heo hadn't gone there by chance to hunt the wolf bandits, I'm afraid they would still be kept in the dark. Tianlin stepped forward and inspected the corpses. As Tang Heo said, they should not have been killed by wolves, because their death appearances were completely different. Some died with a smile, as if they had received great satisfaction before death, while others died with angry expressions and great reluctance. Some even had a lot of food in their mouths, as if they were stuffed to death. You have also seen that such a huge killing cannot be left alone by our upper 3 sects, but I have been expelled from the Heoshan sect and cannot use the sect's power. Therefore, I can only ask you Qibao to handle this matter. Zhang, be sure to find out. Tang Heo said in a deep voice. Although he is not a great philanthropist, he did a lot of chivalrous and righteous things in order to build up the reputation of Heoshan sect. Otherwise, he and Tang Zhao would not have the resounding and positive nickname of Heoshan Double Star. Don't worry, your majesty Tang Heoshan, I, Jun Tianlin, will take over this matter. No matter who does it, I will make him pay the price. Tianlin said angrily. Although he has experienced in the killing city, he can kill the enemy decisively, but that does not mean that he regards life as nothing. In any case, the dispute on the mainland should be a contest between the army and the soul masters who have the power. What happened to the helpless civilians? People who have such disrespect for life have no need to live. Uncle Ying, please inform Marshal Jia Long and ask him to send people to investigate the Xiandao border. What Tang Heo saw may only be a small part. It will not take a while to find out the truth, but at least we must first ensure that the casualties will not continue to increase. Ning Fengzi ordered. I understand, Sect Master. Yin Yang spread his wings and flew up. With a strong man like him at the title Douluo level going there in person, Zhelong wouldn't take it seriously. Chapter 254 Ning Fengzi's speculation about Tianlin's 7th soul ring. Tang Heo left after delivering the soul bones. It was not convenient for him to stay in the Qibao Glazed sect for too long. Now Yin Yang went to full speed and flew to find Zhelong. Tianlin immediately said, Uncle Ning, Master, I will fly to several villages mentioned by Tang Heo to find out the truth. As he spoke, he summoned a huge bronze longsword that floated in front of him. This was what Tianlin had asked the blacksmith from Jingxin City to help build in the past few days, specifically for flying with a sword point. Otherwise, he could only control the demon sword, which was very fast, but he couldn't use his sword skills at the same time. Stop. At this moment, Ning Fengzi shouted sternly, Xiaoshan, what you have to do now is to concentrate on your cultivation. You don't need to go anywhere before level 70. As for the border matters, I will arrange for them. Go investigate. But Uncle Ning, I always feel that this time things are unusual. Tianlin frowned. He was always a little uneasy about things that deviated from the original work. That meant that his biggest advantage of foresight was gone. Although, I don't know why you are so excited. I told you that to do great things, the most important thing is patience. At present, I can see your determination and confidence, but not your patience. This is very fatal of, don't forget, what is the most important thing for us right now? How can we save others when we can't protect ourselves? Ning Fengzi's meaning is obvious. For Tianlin now, there are only two most important things. 1. To survive the sect's great catastrophe and soul hunting operation, and 2. To work hard to strengthen his own strength and complete the Shura Divine examination point. As long as Tianlin is strong enough in the future, what else can't be solved? Yes, I understand, Uncle Ning. Although Tianlin was a little unwilling, he still chose to listen to Ning Fengzi's words. After leaving the Qibao hall unhappily, Tianlin went straight back to his courtyard, sitting cross-legged to practice his soul power. Hey, Uncle Jian, go and see Xiaoshan. I rarely see him looking so anxious. Ning Fengzi said worriedly. Shenzin just nodded and said nothing. But how could Ning Fengzi really not care about 10,000 lives? On the other hand, he also sent Gurang to investigate there personally. Firstly, Gurang is strong enough that he can handle any dangers he encounters. Secondly, his martial soul is biased toward the netherworld, and he may be able to find out why these people died in different ways in the secret room. Ning Fengzi placed a huge map of the Xiandao camp on his desk. In the past 2 years, too many things had happened in the Xiandao Empire. He had to calm down and analyze it carefully. Emperor Zuyu's body was getting worse day by day, and the entire power of Xiandao began to fall away completely. Zhu Beng suddenly openly declared that he was competing with Zhu King for the crown prince position, and a mysterious title Douluo also appeared. Zhu King's side, since her true identity is a member of the Khan family of Wuhan Palace, it is impossible not to have a title Douluo guarding her. But since Zhu Beng is still alive and well, it means that Zhu King has a title Douluo in his hand. At most it can only compete with the title Douluo in Zhu Beng's hands, because of Prince Zhu crossing. Except for the 3 educational committee members of Xiandao Royal Academy, most of the noble soul masters are biased towards Zhu Beng, and now Zhu Beng has the support of many ministers, while Zhu King has the support of the people, and understands on the surface, and as my disciple, the two sides can be said to be evenly matched. Ning Fengzi drew an equal sign between the two. To be honest, even he was surprised that Zhu Beng secretly gathered such a strong force that could compete with Zhu King. One thing is strange. If he is Zhu Beng, he will definitely continue to hide in the dark until he develops his own strength to completely surpass Zhu King. It would be too early to jump out at this time. However, since the jump has been made, we must have a greater advantage. Now that the two sides cannot quickly determine the winner in terms of soul masters and politics, they can only seek breakthroughs in other aspects. Ning Fengzi pointed with his finger. One big word: army. The Xiandao Empire is known as a million-strong army. This is a force that even the spirit hall does not dare to underestimate. Both sides must fight for this force with all their strength. However, most generals like Jelong were not involved in party disputes. Even Marshal Jelong was annoyed by the two princes and took the initiative to garrison in the border area between Xiandao and Xingluo. Zhu Beng jumped out at this time. Rather than competing for the throne with Zhu King, what is he targeting? Ning Fengzi finally discovered the blind spot, and then he was horrified. Could it be that this Zhu Beng is also one of this? But why? Although Ning Fengzi had doubts, he did not show any anger or panic. In terms of self-control and patience, he was indeed much better than Tianlin now. Soon, he saw a smile rising from the corner of his mouth. Zhu Beng, I don't care why you want to join them, but it just so happens that I can use you in turn to help Xiaoshan. On the other side, Chen Xing came to Xianlin's yard and saw that Xianlin had entered deep meditation, so he did not come forward to disturb him. It was not until the next morning that Xianlin woke up from meditation. Master, why are you here? Xianlin quickly stood up and asked, let me see you. Are you angry with Feng Zhi for not letting you find out the truth about that matter? Chen Xin asked. Xianlin shook his head. I'm not angry. Uncle Ning is right. For me now, the most important thing is to survive the soul hunting operation and complete the divine test. I'm just a little unwilling. My current strength is still too weak. The soul hunting operation is not bad. I'm confident that I have a 70% chance of defeating my opponent. It's just the second test of Sure God. I really can't think of how to complete it. Seeing his disciple's troubled look, Chen Xing said calmly, God will not give you a task that you cannot complete, and I think that in Sure God's assessment, the first one must be able to assist the second one, so that you can continuously improve your strength during the assessment. Master, I want to ask you, have you decided what attributes you want for your 7th soul ring? The attributes of the 7th soul ring, one of thunder, wind, and fire. The water and earth in my magic sword are strong enough. Qianlen said with some confusion. Chen Xin shook his head. Actually, I think thunder, wind, and fire are not the best choice, and of course water and earth are not the best choices. In the past, the reason why you had to absorb these attribute soul rings was to match the soul skills, but this 7th soul rings are different. No matter what attributes you absorb, the final soul skills you get will only be the true form of the weapon soul. In this case, why don't you try to strengthen your sword itself? You know, as long as it is a sword, it can never be separated from its sharpness. 2 words. This is the essence of the sword. Chen Xin woke up the dreamer, and Qianlin said, Master, you mean that the real purpose of Sure God's second test is not to avenge brother Xian Meng, but to absorb the soul of the dark gold terror claw bear ring. Its attribute is gold, and the weapon soul's true form born with this attribute will have the most extreme increase in attack power. Chapter 255. A sudden understanding of how to pass the second test of God Shura. That's right. Chen Xin refused to deny. If I were that god, since I have recognized you as my successor, I will definitely find ways to guide you to grow, so that you can inherit my divine position in a stronger manner. However, since you said that the Sure God you inherited is the god of judgment and killing, then his guidance to you will not be very gentle. Qianlin pondered for a while and said, but, let alone the fact that I'm no match for the dark gold terror claw bear now, even if I can outwit it like the behemoth, I still can't withstand the 46. Even if I have a million-year soul ring, even though I have million-year soul bone, that soul bone is all used to carry brother Xian Meng's million-year soul ring. The rest of them combined are not as good as the dark gold terror. The terrifying cultivation level of the claw bear. Then you have to make your own judgment. Didn't you endure this million-year soul ring back then? As I said before, God Shura will not give you a test that you cannot complete. Chen Xin walked out with his hands behind his back. Just as he reached the door, he suddenly turned around and said, Xiaoshan, a god in charge of judgment cannot only have power, but also needs wisdom. This is what Feng Zhi has always warned you. Strength and wisdom? Qianlen sat cross-legged and thought with his mind empty. Since Sure God has chosen me as his successor, he must know enough about me, and he is very sure that of all the chips I have now, have a set of methods that are enough to defeat, or even absorb the dark gold terror claw bear soul ring. Now it depends on me whether I can connect the available chips on my body with a chain. The first thing Tianlin has to do is to sort out what the bargaining chips are on his body, including Shushan's unique skills, Qibao glazed sect resources, twin martial souls, million-year soul bones, 100,000-year attached soul bones, and 200,000-year-old limb souls. Bones are all methods he can use. Opening his eyes, Tianlin glanced around. Chenzin had already left, probably because he didn't want to disturb his thinking. At this moment, a calendar caught his eye. Ningfeng's he sent someone to hang it here in order to wait for Tianlin's prediction of the future to cool down before using it again in his room. At that time, he can use this calendar to determine the specific time of the soul hunting operation. But now, the cooldown time for predicting the future has actually passed, and he can use it again at any time. The reason why he keeps delaying it is because he has already buried Hulina, the secret hand, so he still keeps the ability to predict the future for emergencies. Yes, that's it. That's why God Shura gave me 1 year. Tianlin's eyes flashed. He found the thread, how to hunt the dark gold terror claw bear, and how to hold on. Tianlin can find a way to capture its soul ring. With the thought coming through, Tianlin's soul power began to rise. An epiphany not only opened his heart, but also improved his soul power a lot, reaching level 68 in one breath. This level was originally lost due to rescuing Hulina, and it was extremely easy to break through the familiar path again. In fact, Chenzin hadn't gone far, yet when he felt a huge soul power fluctuation coming from his disciple's house, he knew that Tianlin must have understood something, and his disciple's realm had reached a high level. Tianlin later went to find Ningfeng's again, and he was also a link in the chain. Although the divine examination stipulated that he had to go alone when hunting the dark gold terror claw bear, but he didn't say that he couldn't make other preparations in advance. Although God Shura is the god of law enforcement, he also needs to know how to be flexible when enforcing the law. As Chenzin said, God Shura's assessment of Tianlin is not only about strength, but also about strength and wisdom. After telling Ningfeng's all his plans, Ningfeng's smiled with satisfaction. According to Tianlin, he did have a high chance of killing the dark gold terror claw bear. The future of his sect finally began to grow. Not only in terms of strength, but also in all other aspects. It was indeed a wise decision to allow him to go to the killing city alone. What Tianlin has to do now is to level up again in the shortest possible time. Level 1 is enough, and magic water and thunder is enough for him to forcefully break through the 70 level bottleneck. As for that level of illusory soul power, there is no serious problem at all. It will be up to 460,000 years old, and it is a ferocious beast soul ring that does not impose a seal at all. Who knows how many levels it will increase. Tianlin, no matter how elusive a soul power is, can become solid. Brother Tianmeng, we will work together again then. Haha, what's the matter? We should have sent those two brothers to meet their golden behemoth ancestors a long time ago. Tianmeng Iceworm laughed. It only killed one earth behemoth. It was not satisfied in the first place. It wanted to seal itself. The dark gold dread claw bear has a deeper hatred. In the following days, according to Ningfeng's instructions, he didn't go anywhere, no matter day or night. He just cultivated his soul power with the help of the resentment absorbed from the slaughter city to assist in his training. The ultimate attributes in the magic sword have a minimal impact on Tianlin. He does not need to rely on the power of Xiangsu and the ice and fire eyes. He is also confident that within 3 or 4 months, reached level 69. Yin Yang had returned a few days ago, and he, the titled Douluo, personally delivered the message. Zhelong did not dare to be careless, and immediately sent troops to several villages on the edge of the continent, under the jurisdiction of the empire or some kingdoms with strong military power. It was okay, but for those belonging to a certain small principality, several villages were slaughtered as expected. Zhelong was immediately furious. Although those principalities were not directly affiliated with the Xiandao Empire, they were still affiliated principalities, and were protected by the Xiandao Empire. How dare someone do such an inhumane act? He immediately wrote to the court to investigate the matter thoroughly. In addition, Ningfeng's was smart enough to hand over the 7 corpses to Zuking. Regardless of the apparent identity of Prince Xiandao or the identity of the Angel Clan of Wuhan Palace, She could not allow the murderer to do whatever he wanted. Let her investigate. It is better to check it than Tianlin point. Seeing that Ning Fengzi had made all arrangements, Tianlin was completely relieved and stopped caring about this matter. A few days later, Oslo returned and hurried up the Qibao mountain. He happened to meet Yu Feng and Huanayan on the way, so they went up the mountain together. I'm looking for Xiaoshan, let him come out quickly. Oslo panted, looking extremely anxious. Drink some water first. I've asked the fat man to call for you. Ning Rangrang handed Oslo a glass of water, which he drank in one gulp. Yu Feng and Huanayan seemed much calmer, drinking tea leisurely, but looking at Yu Feng's shaking right leg, it was obvious that he was in a hurry. After a while, Tianlin came to the living room. As soon as he saw him, Oslo rushed over impatiently. Xiaoshan, you must not believe what I saw. Haoshan sect. I found Haoshan sect. No wonder Oslo was so surprised. Tianlin told him at the time that he was just following the man secretly, and also specifically told him not to follow him too closely and to run away immediately if something happened. It turned out that the final destination of the person he was following was Haoshan sect, which didn't surprise him. Chapter 256, Finding Haoshan sect. Yu Feng's identity. How do you know where the Haoshan sect belongs? Tianlin frowned. He had taken special care of Oslo. He only needed to follow that person and determine his destination. He must not go deep. This was for fear of to scare the snake away. Secondly, they were worried about Oslo's safety. It was impossible for the Haoshan sect to let outsiders who discovered them live. Tianlin, who had read the original work, knew that the Haoshan sect was hidden in the mountains and entered through a small village. Oslo could only find that village, so how could he know that the Haoshan sect was there? I know your concerns. Don't worry, Xiaoshan. I entered the village using the leopard shadow clone instead of my true self. As a result, the clone was dispersed by the people guarding the village with the clear sky hammer. I know that there is actually the hidden place of Haoshan sect. Oslo said with a smile. You are so brave. You even risked your life for curiosity. If I had known I shouldn't have asked you to go, I would have known how you could possibly listen to my warnings. Tianlin shook his head helplessly. It's not just a warning. How could the people of Haoshan sect not see that the person they beat to death was a clone? I'm afraid that the people of Haoshan sect already know the leakage of their hiding place. Forget it. Just be discovered if you are discovered. As long as you are fine. Tianlin did not blame Oslo. After all, Oslo was a friend, not a subordinate. He was willing to help him, and he was already grateful. But this guy Oslo, his favorite thing is to hit snakes with a stick. He is not ashamed, but proud of it. He hooked Tianlin's shoulder and said with a smile, Hey, Xiaoshan, now that you have found the Haoshan sect, will you do it next time? What kind of conspiracy is there? Count me in. How could you not take me with you for such an interesting thing? After all, I was the one who found them, so you can't give me some reward. Forget it. Don't mess with the Haoshan sect. I'm not afraid to tell you that their sect currently has more titled Douluo than our 7 treasures glazed sect. Tianlin warned. Really? Oslo said in disbelief. This Haoshan sect has been closed for so many years, but it is stronger than the current 7 treasures glazed sect. The matter of Ning Feng's title has not yet been reported, so the 7 treasures glazed sect is still a Douluo sect to the outside world. Even so, it is the force with the largest number of titled Douluo, except Wuhan Palace and the overseas Poseidon Island. It's not necessarily better than us, except for their sect masters Xiaoshan Douluo. My master can pick a group of other elders with titles of Douluo. Tianlin was extremely confident about Qinxin's current strength. He is worthy of being called the #1 attacking Douluo in the mainland. He is quite impressive. Oslo gave a thumbs up. However, even so, with so many titled Douluo, it seems that this Haoshan sect is not something I can go to. Forget it, you guys. I'd better not get involved in your 3 sect affairs. Oslo is just brave, but he is by no means ungrateful. In fact, it's not just him. Tianlin doesn't want to deal with Haoshan sect for the time being. When he asked Oslo to ask for help, he still used the method of transmitting sounds into secrets in front of Khan Rinksu. He didn't believe that Khan Rinksu would remain indifferent. He was afraid that when he sent Oslo to follow the person who sent the message, she would also send a stronger Oslo to follow him. She should already know the location of the Haoshan sect. At this time, Kinminxu still doesn't know the truth about her father. If she is said to be the person who hates the Haoshan sect the most in the world, she is definitely one of them. It's a pity that due to Qian Daoliu's promise to Tang Chen, she couldn't ask her grandfather to take action, but she would never let Haoshan sect have an easy time. Tianlin hoped that Haoshan sect could try its best to attract Wuhan Palace's attention and give him their Qibao Glazed sect has more time to develop. As for this seemingly homogeneous sect, Tianlin could only say sorry. He had the same idea as Ning Fengzi and did not want to cooperate with them in depth. The 4 single attribute families were so loyal back then. They abandoned them as soon as they could. Learning from the past, Tianlin will never make the same mistake again. Haoshan sect is nothing. It's just a treacherous sect. At this moment, Yufeng, who heard Tianlin Oslo's conversation, suddenly said coldly. He was also their brother, so they did not avoid talking to him. I'm talking about Yufeng. I usually see you looking so sultry. It's rare to hear such harsh words from your mouth. Why did the Haoshan sect offend you? Oslo asked doubtfully. Tianlin also felt a little strange. Haoshan sect was the largest sect in the world back then, but no one dared to offend them. After the closure of the mountain, the ones who had the greatest hatred towards them were Wuhan Palace and the 4 single attribute clans. Tianlin remembered that Yufeng in the comics was disguised by Bei Chengxiang, but this was obviously not the case. The two had known each other for many years, and he couldn't even recognize whether Yufeng was a boy or a girl, and Yufeng was already married to Huanayan. Years old, he is definitely a real man. However, even if Yufeng is not Bei Chengxiang, his martial spirit seems to have many similarities with the sharp-tailed swift, especially in terms of speed. The bellbird is one of the few martial arts that can match the sharp-tailed swift. Yufeng, is it possible that you have something to do with the minimum clan? Tianlin guessed. Hearing this, both Yufeng and Huanayan were stunned for a moment. Huanayan said in admiration, Xiaoshan, you are indeed the son-in-law of sect leader Ning. You can guess his identity just by Yufeng's attitude. You are so smart. Rare, senior. Huanayan, thank you. Tianlin said modestly, my mother is a collateral disciple of the minimum clan. My martial spirit was also mutated by the combination of her and my father. Yufeng did not intend to hide anything. After all, he came today to ask for something of, okay, you brat, I thought you were in the same class as me, but it turns out you are also a young master from a big family. Oslo felt betrayed. No matter how you look at it, he is the best in Huangdao. Ordinary, what kind of young master am I? Yufeng smiled mockingly. For so many years, my mother's clan has lived in embarrassment. Many girls from the clan have had no choice but to marry out of the 2 empires or some kingdoms in order to survive. The little nobles, through their support, have eased the pressure on the sect, and the same is true for my mother. But, after all, my father is only a small nobleman, and he is still in Qiandao. For the minimum clan in Star Luo, he is powerless, even if he wants to help them. And those really big nobles also look down on the women of the minimum clan. Tianlin understood his feelings. In order to ensure their own status, small nobles had to curry favor with larger nobles. This was a big expense. How could Yufeng's father come up with so much money to support an entire ethnic group? Woolen cloth. Besides, although the minimum clan is fast, they basically have no combat effectiveness, and it is really not worth their investment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257. Yufeng asks for help. The plight of the minimum clan. What about the Pio clan? I remember that Yang Wudi and Senior Bei seemed to have a good relationship. Over the years, the Pio clan has always supported the minimum clan, right? Tianlin asked. Yufeng nodded. Yes, if it weren't for Senior Yang, the minimum clan would have been unable to survive. Originally, with the support of Senior Yang and the support of the married women from the natal family, the minimum clan could barely survive. I can maintain my life, but just a few months ago, Wuhan Palace suddenly came to my door. They are here to appease us. It's not just us. Other single attribute families, as well as small sects entrenched in Xingluo, Xiandao and the major duchy kingdoms, they seem to have also sent people there. Everyone knows the hatred between our 4 clans and the Wuhan Palace. Of course, Grandpa Bei directly rejected their solicitation. The people from the Wuhan Palace didn't say much at that time. They just left a message saying, "Don't regret it," and left directly. But this incident made many people think that the minimum clan had once again offended the Wuhan Palace. Many young nobles who were originally willing to help the sect chose to draw a clear line with the minimum clan because they were worried about being implicated. Grandpa Bei was very aloof, so he couldn't help it. Allowing the disciples of the sect to receive the Spirit Master subsidy from the Spirit Hall will make the sect even worse. After listening to Yu Feng's words, Tianlin also felt a sense of sympathy for the minimum clan. They had no fighting power. Among the 4 major clans, they were the least offending clan. This was entirely because they were dragged down by the Haoshan sect. At the same time, he also thought of another thing, that is, Wuhan Palace had already begun preparing the follow-up plan for the soul hunting operation. The purpose of the soul hunting operation is not just to destroy the upper 3 sects, but also to frighten all other sects, large and small, and then try to bring those sects in as much as possible. After all, the power of soul masters in the entire continent is basically concentrated in the hands of 3 forces: the country, sects and Wuhan Palace. Among them, Wuhan Palace is the strongest. If the power of the sects is gathered, the entire continent can be gathered. More than 70% of the Soul Master's power. This power is enough to sweep across the continent. The subsequent re-election meeting of the new 7 major sects was just to win over people's hearts. For the lower 4 sects, becoming the upper 3 sects was their goal, and for the smaller sects, becoming the lower 4 sects was also an honor. Unless there is a deep grudge against Wuhan Palace, no sect can resist such a temptation. The recruitment in the past few days is just a prelude, mainly based on inducements. Tianlin is sure that when the soul hunting operation is over, Wuhan Palace will come again. Then it will be an ultimatum, and it will mainly be coercion, just like the original Huyan. It's like a shock to the Shanghai clan, Junior, Xiaoshan. That's why we are here today, to borrow some money from you to support Yu Feng's mother's family. As the Qibao Glazed sect is the richest sect in the world, we can only come to ask for your help. Huan, I'm a little embarrassed. After all, as a senior, I came to borrow money from my junior. It seemed a bit shameless. Senior. Sister, you don't have to be like this. This is just a small favor. Brother Yu Feng and I won't be able to do this little thing. Tianlin turned back and looked at Ning Rangrong. Rangrong, how much do you still have? Can you lend me some first? Tianlin rarely asked for money from Ning Fengzi unless he had to use it. He also gave Ning Rangrong the New Year's money for Safa keeping, so he didn't have much cash on himself. Ning Rangrong opened the bracelet-shaped soul guide in her hand and looked at it, frowning, and said, "Brother Jian, I don't have much pocket money here." Hearing these words, Yu Feng was a little disappointed. He was about to say something, like it didn't matter, when he heard Ning Rangrong continue, "There are only about 2 million gold soul coins left. Brother Yu Feng, take them all if you want." "Bah, how much do you think it is?" Yu Feng asked blankly. He originally just wanted to borrow 100,000 gold soul coins for emergency use, but Ning Rangrong multiplied the money dozens of times in one breath, which made him feel helpless. "Come to your senses." Oslo almost spit out his blood. He was almost driven crazy by the foreign debt of 400,000 gold soul coins. As a result, Ning Rangrong only had 2 million in pocket money, and this was despite not having much left. Sure enough, the largest family in Douluo Continent was not just mentioned casually. Oslo said 1,000 words at this moment, and only left one sentence. "Brother and sister Rangrong, is your Qibao Glazed sect still recruiting people?" "We're hiring, but I'm not hiring you," Tianlin said on behalf of Ning Rangrong. "Oslo, weren't your grandfather and father both officials in the Xiandao Empire's court? You are considered a well-established empire." People, do you think they will let you join my sect? When Oslo heard this, he was completely desperate. It felt like there was a treasure mountain in front of him, but he couldn't get up the mountain, and could only watch helplessly. Ning Rang Grang smiled, and put the gold soul coin card into Huanayin's hand. Sister Huanayin, take it first, and help brother Yufeng's family solve their urgent needs. If it is really not enough, I will ask dad for some more. No, thank you. Xiaoshan and Rang Grang. Yufeng, who had always been calm, also stuttered. There was no way. Tianlin and the others had given them too much point under normal circumstances. Just one gold soul coin is enough for a family of 3 to live frugally for 2 months. 2 million gold soul coins, not to mention urgent needs, can even allow them to pay off the minimum clan's foreign debt in full and still leave a large part of the expenses for at least 10 years. The minimum clan will no longer have to worry about money. Xiaoshan. Don't worry, even if I spend my whole life, I will pay you back the money. If you can't pay it back, I will sell myself to your sect to pay off the debt. Yufeng promised point. After taking the fairy grass, he also has the appearance of a titled Douluo, and his family only has a title, but has not entered the court, so if he is willing to come to Tianlin will definitely welcome him. Point. After bidding farewell to Tianlin and Ningrangrong, Yufeng couldn't wait to pick up Huanayin and fly away. He wanted to quickly deliver the good news to Beihe, the leader of the minimum clan. Oslo also said goodbye to the two of them and returned to Xiandao City. Looking at Yufeng's back gradually disappearing in the sky, Ningrangrong asked Tianlin, Brother Jian, are you interested in the minimum clan? That's why you help him like this? Tianlin shook his head and denied. No, there are 2 reasons why I helped him. First, Yufeng is indeed my friend. Within my ability, I will help whenever I can. Second, I'm really interested in fact, it is not the minimum clan, but the Qibao clan. You see, although we have helped the minimum clan solve their urgent need, their life will still not be easy in the future. Wuhan Palace will not give up on recruiting the major sects in the mainland. The minimum clan is weak in combat, and will never be able to survive alone. Even if the help of the Qibao clan is just a drop in the bucket, I believe Yufeng will come to me again, and then I can use this line to find an opportunity to conquer the Qibao clan. Tianlin is very sure that Wuhan Palace's soul hunting operation will not stop. Even if their plan to annihilate the last 3 sects fails in the future, they will continue to carry out the second phase, and even the methods will be more intense. Only in this way can they succeed in a short period of time. Within, a force sufficient to confront the entire continent was gathered. Chapter 258, Exchange of Treasures. Vast sea universe cover and acacia heartbroken red. 3 months passed. After practicing with great concentration, Tianlin finally broke through the last bottleneck and reached level 69. After consuming most of the resentment the demon sword had sucked from the killing city. At this point, it can be said that the biggest shortcoming of the ultimate attribute has been completely overcome by him, because at the last level, he can forcefully break through with phantom water and thunder. Next, there is the 7th soul ring. This will be a very difficult test. Tianlin needs to face alone the dark gold terror claw bear whose strength is comparable to a level 97 or above Super Douluo, and absorb its soul ring to advance level. In fact, he had already thought of the method, but the success rate was only 70%. Tianlin never liked gambling, so he had to be 100% sure. Eugen flew to Xiandao City and landed in front of the palace. Tianlin had the crown prince order given by Zuking, so he entered the palace very easily. Zuking was not in the East Palace at this time, but in the Imperial Study Room. Emperor Zuyu's health was getting worse day by day, and she had to handle basic government affairs. No one came to stop him along the way, and Tianlin went straight to the Imperial Study. After all, in the eyes of everyone, Tianlin could be regarded as a veritable member of the prince's party. When I saw Zuking, he looked completely different from before. He didn't have such high spirits and could only see the deep exhaustion. Brother Zhu, you look a little tired, Tianlin said with concern. Xiaoshan, you are here. Everyone else should go down first. Zuking waved away all the servants, stood up and said, I'm very tired, but there is nothing I can do about it. Not only these government affairs, but also many of my father's previous all decisions were rejected by me and reprocessed. If you do this, Zubeng will find an excuse to attack and annihilate you. Tianlin advised, change the previous policy. You can take your time and wait until you have completely consolidated your power. Is this too impatient? It will also make crossing Luo's people noticed that Xiandao Cheotang was unstable, and if it weren't for the spirit hall in the middle, they might have taken the opportunity to start a war. It doesn't matter. We have different political opinions. It will happen sooner or later, Zuking said. In fact, he didn't know what Tianlin said, but there was no way. The time limit given to her by Wuhan Palace was getting shorter and shorter. Although the plan was implemented ahead of schedule, his grasp of the Xiandao regime was never thorough enough, so he could only think of other ways. She glanced at Tianlin apologetically. She knew that Tianlin was caring about her, but this silly kid didn't know that her ultimate purpose of doing this was to destroy his 7 treasures glazed sect point, and the plan was almost completed. Zubeng jumped out of nowhere, but she found another way out of it. Point the first is to continue to create an image of fierce fighting within the Xiandao court, so that everyone's eyes will move to the court. Point second, it is to take advantage of the situation, to force the originally neutral generals to take sides, whether to help his Prince Zuking or Zubeng. Point the rest of the forces on both sides can be said to be evenly matched now. Except for the army, neither side has control over it. Once Zuking starts to draw together, in order not to be at a disadvantage, Zubeng's side cannot remain indifferent. Point many military generals were forced to speak bitterly by the two men, but Marshal Zhelong kept warning them that they would never be allowed to fall into party disputes. In desperation, most of the military generals chose to write letters to garrison at the border and stay away from the center of the court. Point this has also resulted in the Xiandao Imperial City's generation of forbidden troops being completely controlled by Zuking's people. Now Zuking wants to send the people from Wuhan Palace in. It can be said that it is easy. As Tianlin had guessed before, distant action, it's actually been less than a month since it officially started. Point Zuking, in turn, took advantage of Zubeng and her to seize the throne, and completed the first step of the soul hunting plan by other means. Although Zubeng's IQ is not low, it seems to be a little worse than Kan Ringsu, but he was still used. Not aware of it, Ziocean, I'm sorry. I will definitely try my best to save your life. In the worst case, I will completely destroy you. I will take care of you for the rest of my life. But for others, even your master and your Rangrong, I will not care about you. I can't care about so much anymore. For my Wuhan Palace's plan to unify the continent, the Qibao glazed sect must be destroyed. Kan Ringsu said with incomparable cruelty in her heart. Tianlin saw a trace of guilt on Zuking's expression. He didn't know what she was thinking. Tianlin didn't want to accept her apology because he wouldn't be merciful then. Wuhan, many people in the palace will die at his hands, but today, he came here not for this soul hunting operation. Tianlin cupped his fists and said, Brother Zhu, I came here today to ask for something. No matter what, as long as Big Brother can help, I will never refuse. Kan Ringsu was already apologetic to Tianlin. If she could compensate him, it would also give her some comfort. I want to borrow something, the Vast Sea Universe cover. Tianlin said his request, but this request was a bit high even for the current prince. Zuking was startled. What, Ziocean, do you know that the Vast Sea Universe cover is a national treasure of the Xiandao Empire? Of course I know, and I also know that this is a bit embarrassing for Brother Zhu. However, I'm willing to give a corresponding gift in return, and please give it to me, Zhu. King looked at Tianlin's firm expression. Although she didn't know what Tianlin wanted this thing for, she thought it was very important to him. In fact, Zuking himself had also studied the Vast Sea Universe shield, but was completely unable to use it. In the Xiandao Empire, this thing was almost like a mascot point. After thinking for a while, Zuking said wait a moment, and left the Imperial study. Zuking returned half an hour later. At this time, he was holding a blue triangular shield. Ziocean, this is a Vast Sea Universe shield. Although it has fallen into the hands of the Empire for hundreds of years, we have always been no one can use it, and if you're going to do something with it, you'd better study it first. I understand. Thank you, Brother Zhu. Tianlin took the vast sea universe cover, opened the Ruai Bao, and took out a flower arrangement. I said before that I would give you something of sufficient weight in exchange, and this is it. Zuking didn't pay attention to the flowers in Tianlin's hand, but kept looking at his wishful treasure bag. This was a gift he gave when they first met. After so many years, even though Tianlin has obtained better things, the storage soul guide in the Ruai treasure bag had never left her body, which made her a little touched. Tianlin did not notice the change in her expression at this time, and continued to introduce. This flower is called Love Sickness Red. It is an immortal product among immortals. Only those who have the most sincere love in their hearts can obtain it. Accept it and take it. If Brother Zhu has a lover in the future, try spitting out a mouthful of blood to see if he can move her. This herb has the power of immortality. If an ordinary soul master takes it, it will not only greatly improve his qualifications, but also increase his level in one breath, at least more than a dozen levels. Even if the user is a high-level soul master like Soul Saint Sword Douluo, or it can be upgraded to 5 or 6 levels. Do you only recognize the immortality of true love? There is such a magical thing in the world. Zuking took the acacia heart broken red with great interest. The soul power in his body stirred up, stimulating the ki in blood, and spit out a mouthful of blood on the petals. Suddenly, acacia broken heart emitted a dazzling red light. Unfortunately, the red light did not last long and gradually dimmed. Tianlin said, it seems that Brother Zhu already has a sweetheart in his heart, so he can attract this flower, but the relationship between you and him is mixed with too many things, and is not pure enough, so he cannot completely move it. Zhu King smiled bitterly. Yes, there is an insurmountable gap between me and him. Maybe he will hate me for the rest of his life in the future, although Zuking did not succeed in getting the recognition of Xiangxiang in Hong. Tianlin will not get back what he gave away. This flower should be regarded as the reward of his and Zuking's friendship for so many years. When he completes the second Shura test, when they come back, I'm afraid they will never be able to talk as calmly as they did today. Chapter 259 Obtaining recognition from the heart of Poseidon and heading to the Star Forest. After Eugene left the palace, Tianlin did not return to the Qibao Glazed sect, but was preparing to go directly to the Star Forest. There were only a few days left in the soul hunting operation, and he could not waste any more time. He had to pass the second test of Shura God in one go, and obtain his 7th soul ring and open his true martial soul. Tianlin stood on the long sword, while checking the vast sea universe shield. In fact, this thing is not necessary. Tianlin doesn't know if he can activate it. If he can, then he will be confident that the success rate of this plan will be certain. It's 10% according to Tang San's method in the original work. Tianlin slowly channeled his spiritual power into the vast sea universe barrier. Suddenly, a layer of special blue light was emitted from the triangular tip of the vast sea universe cover, piercing Tianlin's forehead. At this time, the Shura sword seal on Tianlin's forehead flashed a red light and bounced the blue light back. Of course Tianlin knew that this was Poseidon testing whether he was qualified to be his successor, but as a person like Shura God, he could rob other people's heirs, but others could not rob him. In the God realm, God Shura rushed to the Poseidon temple with a speed far exceeding that of the God of speed. Poseidon, come out, just now. He suddenly felt that his heir's spiritual sea was almost invaded by the Poseidon's spiritual thoughts. This really scared him. Fortunately, because of what happened to the Rakshasa god back then, he was like a frightened bird and left behind in the Shura sword seal hand. Otherwise his inheritance will be interfered with again. Shura, why are you so angry? I just felt someone using mental power to probe into Poseidon's heart, so I subconsciously tested it. Poseidon walked out of the temple slowly, but let's not talk about it. That child not only has mental power, he is terrifyingly tall, and his body also contains quite good water attributes, so he is quite suitable to be my heir. Shura, we are friends. How about you give me that child? You're dreaming. God Shura gritted his teeth in anger. Over the past thousands of years, there were only a few people who passed through his killing city, but not all of them could impress him. At least Tulina was not good at all, and Tang Heo was also a little behind. There were only a few left, and Tang Chen was almost successful, but was tricked by the Rakshasa god, and fell short. He also had a crush on Bibidong, but was intercepted by the Rakshasa god again. Now he finally has Tianlin, who is so compatible in every aspect, and Poseidon still comes to make plans. Is it easy for him? Don't be excited, it's just a joke. Poseidon smiled and waved his hand. Since that child has already started the Shura God exam, he probably has no interest in inheriting the Poseidon position. However, he seems to want to take advantage of my Poseidon. What do you do with your heart? Could it be that Shura God and Poseidon have a close relationship, so they naturally know the magical power of Poseidon's heart? He laughed and said, haha, that's it. This kid thinks more deeply than me. I originally thought he had a chance of passing the second test. It's only 70%, but this kid forced it to reach 100%. Poseidon, please lend your Poseidon's heart to my inheritor. Poseidon nodded. Okay, but I have a request. If this child passes the next Shura God exam, you must. Poseidon whispered something in Shura's ear. Shura squinted at his old friend and saw that he was indeed an old fox, sitting on the ground and raising the price. However, considering the divine test of his successor, he finally said, okay, I agree this time. Okay, feel free. Poseidon no longer hesitated, and a spiritual thought communicated into the vast sea universe cover, causing it to bloom with light. When Tianlin on Douluo Continent saw this strange phenomenon emerging from the vast sea universe cover, he knew that he had temporarily recognized by this artifact. Poseidon is generous. He is willing to give artifacts like the vast sea universe shield to his heirs. On Poseidon Island, there are also Poseidon's light soul training, tidal body refining, and various god-given soul rings. In comparison, my lord Shura God is really so stingy. Tianlin couldn't help but started to read, but he didn't know that through the vast sea and the universe cover, the god of Poseidon and god of Shura in the god realm could hear clearly. God Shura was so angry that he blew his beard and glared, but Poseidon shouted, he has vision, this kid has vision, but it's a pity that you, Shura, have already beaten him to it. Otherwise I will definitely take him as my heir. Do you think I'm as empty as you? In addition to the god realm, I have to supervise the orders of hundreds and thousands of lower planes, large and small. How can I have the time to make so many artifacts and god-given soul rings like you? I still built such an exquisite Poseidon Island in Douluo Continent, and finally managed to create a killing city, and it was invaded by Rakshasa bastards. God Shura roared angrily, and just thinking about it made him feel sad. He doesn't have the energy to make artifacts now, but isn't it just a god-given soul ring? With his divine power, he can find time to make 100 of them every minute. See how this brat dares to call me stingy. Okay, don't worry about it anymore. By the way, Shura, have you found that thing that suddenly appeared more than 10 years ago? Although the evil aura at that time was only fleeting, I dare say that it was far superior to Rakshasa. Poseidon suddenly became serious. It seemed that something appeared that even a first level god was afraid of. No, I can't feel it at all. Probably at the same time that I sensed it, it also sensed my spiritual thoughts and has completely hidden them. What on earth is it? God Shura's face was extremely ugly when he heard this. Even he was confused. You can imagine how terrible it is to be unable to pursue something. Even a first level god cannot achieve such a concealment ability. A big event has happened on this continent that even I don't know about. I have already planned to arrange for my successor to assist in the investigation in the next Shura Divine examination. I just hope that he will be more careful, because he lost his target. Even God Shura was helpless, and the gods could not let his true body descend to the lower plane at will. Now he could only place his hope on Tianlin. At this moment, Tianlin didn't know the worries of God Shura. He was flying quickly to the Star Forest Point not long after they landed at the entrance of the Forest Point originally. The most important issue he needed to consider was how to lure the dark gold Terrorclaw bear out of the Lake of Life alone, just like last time. But now that he has the vast sea universe cover, there is no need for such trouble. The vast sea body shield. Tianlin used the first skill of the vast sea universe shield. The effect was to hide not only the body, but also the breath. More importantly, this protective shield is not a single skill. It has a huge range. As long as it absorbs the soul ring of the dark gold terror claw bear here, Tianlin will not be afraid of being discovered by other ferocious beasts entering the Star Forest. Tianlin has never felt so comfortable. He is worthy of the heart of the Poseidon. For these soul beasts, it is simply a dimensionality reducing blow point. Even if Tianlin stood in front of a certain soul beast, pointed at it and scolded it, it probably wouldn't notice it. Of course, he wouldn't do such boring things. Instead, he went straight to his destination, the golden cave of the dark gold red claw bear. There is a big difference here compared to the last time. The damage was not decent. I think it was because my brother was killed by Tianlin, and it got very angry at that time, so it exploded its power randomly here. Chapter 260 Battle against the dark gold terror claw bear. In this case, I don't know if this dark gold terror claw bear will come back again. Tianlin rubbed his head in distress. Ocean, how about I exude my aura again to attract it? Tianmeng suggested. No, as soon as your breath dissipates, not only the dark gold terror claw bear will come, but also other ferocious beasts will come. Then we will be in trouble. Tianlin directly rejected its proposal, and then I explored the surroundings of the destroyed golden cave, hoping to get some useful information point at this time. The claw marks all over the place attracted Tianlin's attention. Brother Tianmeng, look at these claw marks. The depth is completely different. What's the matter? Maybe it's just that the dark gold red claw bear uses different strength when grabbing it. No, the dark gold terror claw bear at that time must have been in a state of rage. At this time, it would not deliberately control its power at all. Every scratch must have been with all its strength. There should not be such a huge difference in the depth of the claw marks. That's right, many of the claw marks here were caused by being scratched twice or even several times. Tianlin judged. So, this dark gold terror claw bear has been angry here many times, and these traces were not formed in one go. Tianmeng Ice Silkworm also seemed to want to understand something. Tianlin nodded. Yes, we overlooked one thing. What the dark gold terror claw bear saw at that time was not the scene of the behemoth's death. It only saw its younger brother being transferred away by us. Therefore, even if it is very special, even though it is slim, it will still hold on to the hope that its foster brother is not dead and will come back. So it often comes here to have a look, but every time it finds nothing, it gets angry and destroys this place again. In this way, I will have a way to attract only the dark gold terror claw bear. Tianmeng Ice Silkworm said confidently. Tianlin also smiled slightly. It seemed that brother Tianmeng and him had thought of going together. Just like why the Titan giant ape appeared outside the Stardow forest in the original novel. It was because it sensed Xiao Wu's aura point. So, as long as they use the same method to spread the aura of the earth behemoth, are they afraid that they won't be able to attract the dark gold terror claw bear? This is not difficult. In the original work, Huou Heo can obtain simulated soul skills by hunting a 1000-year-old ice silkworm. As a million-year-old brother Tianmeng, there is no reason why he cannot do this. Besides, it has been dealing with the earth behemoth for so many years, and the earth behemoth's 100,000-year-old soul ring is also on Tianlin. It is too simple to achieve this small fact. Then, I leave it to you, brother Tianmeng. Tianlin's soul came to the Sea of Spirits and temporarily lent his body to Tianmeng Iceworm. Okay, look at how awesome I am. Tianmeng Ice Silkworm used one of their clan's innate abilities to simulate their own aura and began to spread out the aura of the behemoth beast. At this time, the dark gold terror claw bear, who was practicing in the Lake of Life, suddenly sensed the aura of his younger brother. The big stupid bear almost burst into tears. It's my sworn brother. I knew he was still alive. After all, his strength is comparable to the average human. Titled Douluo is stronger. How can he be hunted so easily? But this idiot didn't come back until now. It seems that he was teleported far away. Didn't he get lost? Haha. The excited dark gold terror claw bear didn't bother to say hello to the other ferocious beasts. He stood up and left the Lake of Life. The Red King demon spirits were too lazy to pay attention to it and were cultivating on their own. After all, the behemoth was the younger brother of the dark gold terror claw bear, and it was not this. It could not come back and had nothing to do with them. The dark gold terror claw bear couldn't wait to run back to the golden cave. At this time, Tianlin was hiding himself with the vast sea universe cover. Although he was 80% sure, he still needed to remain vigilant until he was not sure that the dark gold terror claw bear was back alone. He was completely relieved when he saw that there were no other ferocious beasts following the bear. Brother-in-law, brother-in-law, where are you? The dark gold terror claw bear shouted everywhere as soon as he came back. Stop howling, your sworn brother is here. Behind a big tree, Tianlin stood on the treetop and smiled at it. With the magic sword in his hand and the soul ring emerging point, the dark gold terror claw bear turned its head and recognized that the young man in front of it was the one who disappeared with his adopted brother. Moreover, it felt the aura of its adopted brother from the bright red sixth soul ring point. It didn't know that its adopted brother was hunted by the human in front of him. Damn. Human, I want you to die. The dark gold terror claw bear roared angrily and used one of its special moves, the sky-tearing claw, and grabbed Tianlin with its murderous claws. The bear claw turned into a huge claw that covered the sky and the sun. It covered a huge area and had terrifying attack power. It was impossible for Tianlin to hit him hard. He would probably be finished if he was touched. The realm of the god of killing, the realm of mental interference, the realm of the Holy Spirit, Tianlin's 3 major fields appeared in an instant. The god of killing field weakened the opponent in all directions and strengthened himself. The mental interference field made the opponent's attacks an accurate point in the Holy Spirit realm, while suppressing the opponent's soul power. The recovery of one's own soul power and the concentration of moves are accelerated, and it has extremely strong vitality. Supplemented by the blue-silver Emperor Soulbone, serious injuries can be turned into minor injuries, and minor injuries can be directly healed. There are 3 realms before level 70. No wonder my sworn brother died in your hands. However, the absolute power gap cannot be bridged by 3 realms. The dark gold terror claw bear was shocked and angry. The original bear claws exuded a violent bloody light, which seemed to be able to tear apart space. Ocean, be careful. This is a dark gold terror claw bear's unique move, the sky-tearing claw. If you are hit by this move, you will be completely dead. Can't you still use that move? Tianmeng Bingxi said anxiously. It's alright now, hold on for 1 more minute. Blue-silver breath. Tianlin raised his left arm, and a faint fragrance was exuded from all over his body. The blue-silver Emperor's soulbone skill. This fragrance contains a very strong paralyzing toxin. It can be seen that the speed of the dark gold terror claw bear's downward grasp begins to slow down. The next moment, Tianlin teleported and quickly escaped from the attack range of the dark gold terror claw bear. It's a pity that he still underestimated the power of the dark gold terror claw bear. Ocean, be careful of the aftermath. Tianmeng Iceworm yelled. When the sky-shredding claws were grasped, the surrounding air became extremely sharp, like a strong wind, cutting all the hundreds of big trees around. Tianlin also had a big scar torn out on his chest. Originally this would have been fatal, but with the protection of the Holy Spirit realm, it was just a superficial injury. The blue-silver Emperor soulbone skill. Wildfire cannot burn it out, but the spring breeze blows it again. Tianlin circulated the blue-silver Emperor soulbone again, and the scars on his chest recovered as before in an instant. What? A powerful dark gold terror claw bear. Tianlin said in admiration. Just now, in order to block the blow, he had almost used all his strength, using 3 major domains and 200,000 year soul bones to barely hold on. Sure enough, it was too early for him to face the dark gold terror claw bear head on. Chapter 261. The counterattack begins. Strategies to deal with Mr. Xiang. Lake of Life. Dishon, the leader of the 10 most ferocious beasts in later generations, is practicing with his 2 wives BG and ZG. Bridget heard the roars of the dark gold red claw bear coming from the distance and asked a little uneasily, "What's wrong with Mr. Xiang today? Does he feel more passionate than usual? Sister, what do you care about that guy? In the past 3 years, it has gone berserk every once in a while. Aren't you used to it? I guess you just sensed something wrong." I went to see my adopted brother with joy, only to find that it wasn't him. Of course it will be even more annoying. It will get better after a while. ZG smiled disdainfully. She actually doesn't like Mr. Xiang very much because Mr. Xiang is too ambitious and has always coveted the status of Emperor Shan, which makes her, a husband protector, very unhappy. It's okay, don't worry about it and concentrate on your cultivation. Dishan said calmly. He didn't think anything would happen to Mr. Xiang. This guy was very arrogant, but his combat effectiveness was unquestionable. Although he was only ranked 4th in terms of cultivation in the Stardow Forest, among the top 3, the 10,000 Demon King faced him. It is no match for it in battle, and Bridget is not good at fighting, so it can definitely be called the number 2 figure in the Stardow Forest. Of course, a guy who has been in seclusion to recuperate does not count. To subdue Lord Xiang, even a 97th to 98th level Super Douluo may not be able to do it. However, Dishan did not sense any powerful fluctuations in human soul power from Lord Xiang, so it also judged that this guy is another go crazy there alone. In fact, just as Dishan thought, Mr. Xiang was too strong, and Tianlin was an unspeakable pain at the moment. He has never attacked once so far. He just keeps using all his strength to defend and escape. In addition to the domain and soul bone skills just now, he has used the Immortal Wind and Cloud physical technique, the Drunken Immortal Moonstep, and various Shushan spells such as Defense, Acceleration, and Body Illusion to their limits. Even so, he was still impressed by Mr. Xiang. Forced into despair, this guy is simply 10 times stronger than the Earth Behemoth. Tianlin once again used his phantom body and teleportation to narrowly avoid the attack, but he was still hit by the strong wind that spread when the bear's claws passed by, and his internal organs were ruptured. Spat out a mouthful of blood. But at this moment, a voice sounded from Tianlin. 9 treasures are famous, and the 9th day is immortality. Here we come. The vast sea body protective shield. Activate. Tianlin's eyes lit up, and he instantly opened the scope of the vast sea universe shield to the maximum, covering himself and Mr. Xiang at the same time. Because next, it was his turn to fight back. Of course, the immortal body just now was not Ningfeng's. After all, the requirements of the divine examination required him to hunt down the dark gold terror claw bear alone. If Ningfeng's he appeared here, it would be against the rules. However, Tianlin has a trick to predict the future. This trick can not only set his soul skills to others or specific locations in advance, but also set other people's soul skills to himself in advance. When he first saw the calendar, Tianlin came up with this method and asked Ningfeng's to set the immortal body on himself in advance, and the activation time was roughly at this time. It's a pity that Tianlin didn't bring a watch when he came to Douluo Continent, so he couldn't tell the time to within a minute and could only rely on estimates to judge. He almost overturned. Fortunately, he had a very strong ability to save his life and finally managed to wait until his immortal body was activated. Xiaoshan, you fought back. According to the soul power your father-in-law left in you, this immortal body can only last for 5 minutes at most. Don't waste time. Qian Meng Binkan reminded. I understand, brother Qian Meng, you have been offering sacrifices for so long. Have you become very proficient in the sealing of soul rings and soul bones? Right. Of course. I can now lift the seal at any time. Okay, then let's get started. Unlock 80% of the sealing power from my million-year-old soul ring and soul bone. Tianlin's real purpose of using this immortal body is not to support the dark gold terror claw bear attack, but to prevent the backlash of mental power from hurting oneself. As long as there is an immortal body, no matter how many times his spirit is severely injured, he can recover instantly. Only 80% of it was released for insurance purposes, because Ningfeng's he said that the immortal body could not ignore the impact of God level. The million-year level mental power was already infinitely close to God level, and Tianlin was worried that it would exceed the upper limit. As Tianlin roared, the extremely terrifying mental power made the dark gold terror claw bear panic. If it were not inside the vast sea universe barrier, no sound or breath could be transmitted out, and it would probably alarm other ferocious beasts. HMPH, you are quite powerful as a human being. I didn't expect to have such mental power, but so what, you are still no match for me, based on your mental power alone. Mr. Xiang exuded a burst of dark golden light and said in a low voice, "Dark gold seal. This is a trick that sealed Qian Meng Ice Worm for 12 years. Mr. Xiang seems to be very honest, but he is not a fool. He can see that Tianlin is in a wonderful state of neither death nor injury, and rashly performs physical attacking is useless, so it would be better to seal him with a dark gold seal. If you want to seal me, let's see who can seal whom." Hanhei Calming Shield. At this time, Tianlin took the lead point. The top of the vast sea universe cover suddenly emitted a burst of sea blue light, and it took the initiative to control the dark gold terror claw bear. This is the second skill of Poseidon's heart, vast sea stabilizing shield, which can seal any enemy with less than 3 times the caster's spiritual power. Tianlin's mental power at this time was so powerful that he was probably no less powerful than any Super Douluo, and was even close to rivaling our ultimate Douluo. It would be impossible to exceed 3 times his mental power at this time, and it would be impossible to reach the god level. I can't move. Damn human being, I will tear you to pieces. Mr. Xiang became more and more angry, but it was a pity that his voice could not be heard in this vast universe. I'm done with Mr. Xiang. Next, I want to collect your soul ring. Tianlin looked at the dark gold terror claw bear. He didn't intend to kill it directly. How can a 460,000-year-old soul ring be so easily absorbed? He had previously absorbed the million-year-old soul ring of Qian Meng Ice Silkworm, and the 400,000-year-old soul ring of the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion had been absorbed by Huo plugin in the original novel. How did he do it? The answer is sacrifice, which can minimize the risk, so he is going to do it again today. First of all, let's take this move. The golden flame destroys the soul. Compared to the past, Tianlin's golden flame soul destroying power has reached an extremely terrifying level at this moment. After unlocking 80% of the seal of the million-year soul ring, I'm afraid that all title Douluo below the 95th level will be instantly burned to the point of death by his brain death point. Even Mr. Xiang let out a shrill roar at this moment. Its physical defense was strong, but its mental defense was not that terrible. This blow was also a big threat to it. Chapter 262 Forced Sacrifice. 460,000 years soul ring and soul bone. Ocean, we succeeded. Shall we do it? Seeing that the soul of the dark gold terror claw bear was burned, Qian Meng Ice Worm was extremely excited. Its second great revenge could finally be avenged. Compared with the behemoth, it hated the dark gold terror claw that sealed it away. Bear, it's not enough. Although the dark gold terror claw bear's mental power is not as strong as its physical body, it is not inferior to Super Douluo. I will continue to weaken its soul power and lock the soul of the heavenly demon. Tianlin activated the magic sword, and a strange blood light emitted from the sword. This was all the resentment and hatred absorbed by the magic sword in the killing city, and Tianlin relied on it to speed up his cultivation point. But after breaking through level 70, these will be of little use. Now Tianlin wants to release them in one breath point. As the magic sword was swung, the endless resentment and hatred accumulated in the past 2 years turned into a huge evil intention, and was driven into the spirit of the dark gold terror claw bear by Tianlin point. In an instant, the dark gold terror claw bear seemed to be possessed by an evil spirit. Its eyes were blood red, evil thoughts were filling its heart, and it completely lost its mind point. Tianlin took back the magic sword and turned it into the second spirit orb. The first spirit skill, 5 spirits purify evil. His 5 spirits purify evil is a skill that targets evil spirits and is of no use to ordinary people. That is why Tianlin wants the dark gold terror claw bear to be possessed by evil spirits and then have him purify it point. Even if the purification is completed, the soul of a person possessed by a ghost will be in an extremely weak state for a period of time point. As the light of the Holy Spirit orb shines on the dark gold terror claw bear, the evil thoughts and resentments in it are constantly being purified, and the power of its soul is also constantly weakened point. By the time the complete purification was completed, the dark gold terror claw bear could hardly open its eyes. It was too mentally exhausted to even be angry at the moment. There was only one thought in its mind: sleep and rest point. Seeing its state, Qian Meng Ice Worm hurriedly said, Ocean, there is absolutely no problem this time. The dark gold terror claw bear's spirit is extremely weak now, and it has less than a minute of immortality left. We can't waste any more time. Well, soul bone skill, mind catching. Tianlin weakened the dark gold terror claw bear's spirit in this way, in order to capture it with mind catching. Otherwise, with its powerful and violent mental power, mind catching would not be possible at all. May succeed. A ray of soul light shot out from Tianlin's forehead and struck directly into the mind of the dark gold terror claw bear. At this time, its soul defense was infinitely close to zero, and its telepathy could determine the country with one strike. The dark gold terror claw bear no longer awed, its eyes were dull, and its arms drooped, like a puppet on strings. Successful. Although Tianlin was very happy, now is not the time to waste time. Once the time for immortality has passed, Tianmeng Ice Worm will have to seal the million-year soul ring again, and Tianlin's mental power will drop sharply. With the strength of the dark gold terror claw bear, he can break free from the heart immediately. The vast sea of calming shield may not be able to stop it. Sacrifice. To me. Tianlin immediately gave the order. Yes. The dark gold terror claw bear walked to Tianlin blankly, and with huge soul power fluctuations, a violent aura continued to flow towards Tianlin. Tianlin quickly summoned the magic sword and cast phantom water thunder on himself, forcing his level to break through to level 70. As expected of the metal of the main killing blow, even if it was a sacrifice, this sharp force still caused severe pain all over Tianlin's body. It was not at all as neutral and peaceful as the original Blue Silver Emperor sacrifice to Ningfengzi. Fortunately, this was within the vast sea universe barrier, otherwise such a terrifying sacrificial aura might have caused the soul beasts in the entire forest to riot. Tianlin sat cross-legged, his holy spirit domain opened, and he fully withstood the impact of the 460,000-year-old soul ring. At this time, the immortal body has passed. Tianmeng Ice Worm has resealed the soul ring, and the heart mind, whose mental power has been greatly reduced, can no longer capture the dark gold terror claw bear. The dark gold terror claw bear regained its freedom, but it was too late. The sacrifice had already begun, and its body was gradually dissipating. It couldn't stop, even if it wanted to, and its soul was still weak. The heavenly dream ice silkworm protected the sky. Lin's soul can't stir up any trouble at all. Hey, silly guy, you woke up. It's a pity that your body suddenly disappeared when you woke up. Isn't it interesting? Tianmeng Binkan laughed and made sarcastic remarks. Mr. Xiang was furious. The golden patterned ice silkworm, as expected, has plotted against me and my sworn brother as well. You are a traitor among soul beasts. Haha, traitor? Tianmeng Binkan smiled coldly. You guys, have you ever regarded me as a kinsman? From the first day I met you, you have sealed me and constantly absorbed my origin to practice. Even your so-called lord is indifferent to me. I have never regarded myself as one of your people. I'm me, Tianmeng Binkan. Now I only belong to my family, Xiaoshan, and he is the only one who belongs to me. Damn it. The soul of the dark gold terror claw bear roared and rushed towards Tianmeng Ice Silkworm. The next moment, it was suppressed by the extremely huge mental power and was unable to move. Stop struggling, Mr. Xiang. Your strongest point is your physical strength. Now you have only one soul left like me. Do you think you can compete with my millions of years of spiritual cultivation? Tianmeng Bingsikan, he said with a smile. It was bullied by Mr. Xiang at will, but today it finally came back with revenge. The former king of the Star Forest was now crawling at the feet of Tianmeng Ice Silkworm like a lost dog. For Tianmeng, this scene was simply more satisfying than killing Lord Xiang directly. As time passed, how long Tianlin absorbed it, and how long the suppressed soul of Mr. Xiang roared. Gradually, its soul became weaker and even began to dissipate. Tianlin is almost finished. A circle of red soul rings was placed behind the sixth soul ring of the demon sword. Different from the ordinary 100,000-year soul rings, this soul ring had 4 golden lines on it. At the same time, golden light shone on Tianlin's right arm. Just like the original Xianmeng ice worm, Xiangjun sacrificed his soul ring and soul bone to Xianlin at the same time, which was a right arm bone point. It's a pity that Xianlin didn't have the same luck as Huou Heio, and he discovered the dark gold terror claw bear's most precious external soul bone, the palm bone, but the right arm bone is not bad, haha, with 4 golden patterns and a completely unsealed 460,000-year-old soul ring, Xiaoshan will definitely be able to obtain the strongest weapon soul true body. Xianmeng Iceworm said with satisfaction. Add the 4 with soul bones that are 160,000 years old. No one will dare to look down on us anymore. You are right, brother Xianmeng. You and I will be the strongest combination. Xianlin opened his eyes, and his whole body was filled with soul power. This is not the soul power that a soul master who has just entered the soul saint can possess. It is almost close to level 76. Moreover, at this time, Xianlin has already withdrawn the increase of phantom water thunder. This soul ring and soul bone allow the soul saint to even in this state. Xianlin was promoted to 7 levels in one go. The degree of increase is simply more exaggerated than the million-year soul ring and soul bone of Xianmeng Ice Silkworm back then. This is the benefit of not having a seal. Chapter 263 Earth Spirit Pearl. Xianlin raised his right arm and looked at it. Although the dark gold terror claw bear did not provide him with a metacarpal bone, it at least provided him with a right arm bone. This is the second most precious soul bone it can provide. Even the trunk bones are incomparable point, because only the arm bones and metacarpal bones can obtain Mr. Xiang's most powerful soul skill, the Dark Gold Terror Claw. Dark Gold Terror Claw. It is said that this skill is the strongest attack of the Dark Gold Terror Claw bear. It is issued from the right palm and can pop out 5 sharp claws. It is divided into normal mode and soul skill attack mode. Its power can tear the giant dragon to pieces and shock the power of heaven and earth point. If it is a metacarpal bone, then as an external soul bone, it can grow with the owner. However, what Xianlin absorbed is not an ordinary dark gold terror claw bear, but Lord Bear, whose lifespan is as high as 460,000 years. Even if it does not, it doesn't matter if it grows. The power is still much more powerful than the ordinary 100,000-year soul skill point. Another skill of the 460,000-year-old soul bone is the dark gold seal. If the blue silver aura is group limited, then the dark gold seal is the strongest sealing skill for a single target, and is the same as Tang San's 9th blue silver emperor in the original work. Soul skills are similar once sealed by this move. First of all, the sealed person's comprehensive strength must be stronger than Xianlin, and then with absolutely powerful attack skills, it is possible to break out of the seal point. However, Xianlin, who has officially entered the Soul Sage and obtained the true body of the weapon soul, has a real fighting power that is no less than that of ordinary titled Douluo. Just like the original Chuhuagwen, if they fight again now, there is no need to summon any martial gods. Xianlin even has the confidence to fight alone. Kill him. In other words, if you don't have strength above level 95 or don't have powerful attacking soul skills, then once you are sealed by the current Xianlin, you don't need to struggle and just wait to die. In addition, this 7th soul ring also has a great benefit. After many years, the Shushan treasure record has turned the page again. Xianlin checked it out and found that it was actually a weapon refining chapter, and it really matched the metallic soul ring very well. Lingfeng. Sword, Edge Spirit Blade, Jade Handled Dragon Song, Soul Fixing Sword, Collapse Blade, Broken Trace, Deterring Sky, Fei Wen Huanri. These are all famous weapons in the fairy sword, if they can be made in batches. Lin fell into a deep delusion. Xiaoshan, don't dream until later. It's not suitable to stay here for a long time. Leave quickly. At this time, Xianmeng Bingshu woke up Xianlin, who was immersed in happiness. It was right. This was deep in the Stardao forest, and he had killed the dark gold terror claw bear. Once discovered by other ferocious beasts, he would really be dead, even though the sacrifice was completed under the cover of the vast sea universe cover. But the soul power fluctuation just now was so violent, who knows whether it has leaked out. Xianlin immediately nodded and took back the vast sea universe shield. At this time, he discovered that the vast sea universe shield had lost all its power. It seemed that the reason why this artifact was willing to recognize him was just to help him pass the second Shura test point. However, Tianlin didn't care. The so-called gain was my life, but I was lucky to lose my life. After all, he was not the true heir of Poseidon, and he was not qualified to control Poseidon's heart all the time. The relieved Tianlin was about to speed away. At this moment, where the dark gold terror claw bear was originally, an earthy yellow bead attracted his attention. This bead can actually ignore the skills of the vast sea universe barrier. When it was just surrounded by the vast sea body protector, the bead seemed to be isolated from the barrier. Zai Ocean, this. Qian Meng Bingsi even stuttered in excitement. Earth. Spirit Pearl. Tianlin couldn't help but exclaimed. Unexpectedly, the Earth Spirit Pearl, one of the 5 great spiritual beads, was actually in the hands of the dark gold terror claw bear. However, Tianlin was a little confused. Didn't he go to catch the Qian Meng ice silkworm? He didn't participate in the fight for the spirit beads. I remembered that among the ferocious beasts in the Stardow forest, there are no earth element. At first, those ferocious beasts must have been fighting for the remaining spirit beads, but the dark gold terror claw bear grabbed me without any effort and held me. After I'm trapped, it's not too late to collect this spiritual bead that the ferocious beasts ignored. It was probably for its younger brother. Qian Meng Bing can understood. The power of the spirit beads is too powerful. Even Dishan, and even the Lord of Dishan, can only practice with at most one at a time, and the attributes must match. Tianlin can understand why this earth spirit bead with inconsistent attributes was used. This was an unexpected surprise. Tianlin called out the holy spirit bead, and sensed its aura. The earth spirit bead flew over on its own initiative, and circled around the holy spirit bead. Feeling as happy as seeing a relative. Tianlin grabbed the Tulingsu with his hand, and said with a smile, I finally see you, Tulingsu. I seem to know how to use your power, but it's too dangerous here. Come home with me first. When Tianlin touched the Earth Spirit Pearl, he felt that the Earth Spirit Pearl, like the Holy Spirit Pearl, had adapted to the rules of this Douluo continent. Tianlin seemed to know how to use the Earth Spirit Pearl. Let's go back. Let's take off. With great joy, Tianlin soared into the sky point. After being promoted to Soul Saint, his speed has become much faster. He can fly with a sword, chase the wind and the moon, and gallop across the sea of stars, just like a real swordsman. When Douluo Continent and Qibao Glazed Sect are completely at peace, he must take Ning Rangrang with him to fly to every corner of the world. This is a life he longs for. At this time in the Lake of Life, Dishan finally felt something was wrong. Mr. Xiang's roar had stopped for a long time. This was not surprising at first. After all, this guy had gone back to get angry, and come back many times. But this time, it made him a little uneasy. Although he and Mr. Xiang didn't deal with each other, Mr. Xiang was the absolute strongest on their soul beast side. No matter what point anxious, he immediately rushed to Lord Xiang's cave. Unfortunately, it only took a few minutes from the time Tianlin used the vast sea universe barrier to trap Lord Xiang until the sacrifice was completed. By the time he arrived, Tianlin had already left with his sword. Mr. Xiang's aura has completely disappeared. Could it be that he was hunted? But why is there no body left? Dishan's face was extremely ugly. He vaguely smelled a human scent. Not only in this way, there is still the aura of the Blue Silver Emperor. The Blue Silver Emperor is dead and was sacrificed to a human being back then. He already knew this, so those who can still cast the Blue Silver Emperor's aura must either absorb the Blue Silver Emperor's soul ring, or obtain the Blue Silver Emperor. The person with the soul bone of the Emperor. Damn. Human, you are not satisfied with the sacrifice of Empress Blue Silver. You dare to hunt down Mr. Xiang. No matter where you are, I will make you pay the price. Emperor Shan's angry dragon roar resounded in the sky, make the heaven and earth tremble. In fact, this was the soul bone skill that Tianlin had just cast, the blue silver breath. Because the fragrance was too strong, it persisted for a long time. However, Dishan seemed to have misunderstood something, and let an innocent guy take the blame for Tianlin. At this moment, Tianlin didn't care about that much. He was flying with his sword, while playing with the Earth Spirit Pearl. If this thing was used as he thought, it would be far more precious than Lord Xiang's soul ring and soul bone point at this moment. The black sword mark on Tianlin's forehead flashed with light, and God Shura's deep voice came. The second test of Shura's 9 trials. Kill the dark gold terror claw bear alone, and avenge the Xianmeng ice silkworm. Use your own wisdom and strength to exceed your expectations, and you will be rewarded with a 10% affinity with God Shura, which is now 15%. Tianlin successfully passed the second test, and the black card recording the third test appeared in front of him. Tianlin picked up the card and said, the third test of Shura's 9 tests, the sect's difficulty. In the upcoming sect's catastrophe, more than 80% of the invading enemies will be annihilated. God Shura is worthy of being the god of killing. All his assessments are related to killing. Moreover, this divine examination seems to release assessment content based on Tianlin's experience. He, Ningfengzi and others have been worried about the sect's catastrophe. The assessment-related tasks were released, but this one was much easier for Tianlin than the second test point, because there is no restriction that he must do it alone. That is to say, he can use the power of the entire sect to complete the assessment. He has no intention of letting those who want to destroy his sect go back too much. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264 Hulina's Letter. Qibao City Point. This city can be regarded as one of the more developed and peaceful cities in the entire Douluo Continent. There is the second sect of the mainland stationed here, and no one who is open-minded usually dares to offend. Haha. The guard guarding the city wall seemed to be bored, and couldn't help but yawned. Sometimes being too peaceful can lead to depravity. Hey, don't be so leisurely. Doesn't the sect master always teach us to live in peace and be prepared for danger? A person next to him lectured. What danger are you thinking about? Our sect is so strong. Who dares to cause trouble? Besides, I'm always watching. Isn't it possible that someone could fly in while I was taking a nap? The guard waved his hand casually and said. The next moment, a strong wind suddenly blew from the sky, and a white light flashed in front of the two of them. Before they could see clearly, the light fell on the sect point. Facts have proved that the personnel responsible for defending the city must not be careless for a moment, otherwise they will not be able to react in time once they encounter a master and are broken into point. Fortunately, today's visitor is not an enemy, but Tianlin, who has just returned home. It's really refreshing. My sword flying speed is at least 3 times stronger than before. Soul Saint is really a watershed. Zai Ocean, you're back. A misty voice came, and as the space distorted, Gurong, Chenzin and Ningfengzi appeared in front of Tianlin. Although Gurong still did not break through the 97th level, he had reached the Super Douluo realm. He has become more and more proficient in the use of space skills. Even Tianlin could not react to the sudden space fluctuation just now. These 3 people are all titled Douluo, and their senses are of course far beyond those of ordinary disciples. Chenzin, the strongest among them, immediately noticed that a master who was not inferior to a titled Douluo had entered the sect. How could he not come out and take a look? Unexpectedly, he turned out to be a returning apprentice, which made him overjoyed. He could exude such aura. It was obvious that Tianlin had completed his second Shura test and entered a new realm. Yes, Master, Grandpa Bones, Uncle Ning, come into the hall and talk. Dragons and snakes are mixed in the square. Although the last operation has basically eliminated the moths in the sect, there are still some people who have big mouths. Tianlin's current soul ring configuration is too sensitive. When the soul hunting operation comes, that's when he fully revealed his strength to the world. That's right. I also have something to tell you. Ningfengzi nodded. Of course he understood Tianlin's concerns, so the 4 of them walked towards the Qibao hall together. Brother Jan. As soon as they returned to the main hall, they saw Ningrangrang rushing forward impatiently. She and Guran were also here. Ningfengzi specially called them over. Tianlin let her hold his arm and walked into the main hall. He found that there were actually 2 sect leaders' seats in the main hall. Ning Fengzi stepped forward, took another picture and said, Xiaoshan, this position will be yours from now on. I promised you that, as long as you advance to the Soul Saint realm, you will be the deputy sect leader of the sect. Therefore, when you set out to hunt for the first, when I was in the 7th Soul Ring, I asked someone to take this position. Thank you, Uncle Ning. This seat is big enough for Angrong and I to sit together. Tianlin said with a smile. I also hope that it will be smaller, so that in the future, I can sit on Brother Jian's lap, while Brother Jian is sitting there. Dad, a stingy guy, just won't change it for me. Ning Rangrang complained. This willful look makes people shake their heads. Although under Tianlin's education, her little witch's temper has been mostly restrained, but the last bit of willfulness cannot be changed. There is no way. Who let these things here? Everyone dotes on her too much. Coupled with Tianlin, who has just been promoted to Soul Saint, but has title strength, she can be regarded as having 6 title levels in the palm of her hand. Not to mention a little willfulness. Even if she turns the entire Qibao city over, I'm afraid there will be no one dare to say anything more. Boss, you must have succeeded, right? Guran asked excitedly. In the entire Qibao Glazed sect, Ning Rangrang and him were the only younger generations who knew about the Tianlin divine examination. For such a big event, the younger brother naturally kept it in mind. It's a pity that he can't help Tianlin now. Tianlin smiled and nodded towards him. 7 dazzling soul rings, 1 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black and 2 red, appeared, especially on the last blood red soul ring. There were 4 golden lines flashing with a faint golden light. It was enough to eclipse the previous 6 soul rings. Ran, this is a 460,000-year-old ferocious beast soul ring. If you like it, how about I help you get one, if you get a chance. Ran shook his head in panic and said, no, 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 how am I worthy of such a soul ring? If I can be promoted to a title Douluo in the future, then my 9th soul ring can cost 80,000 to 90,000 like my master. I'll be satisfied if I'm young. Hearing Guran's useless words, Tianlin frowned and said, don't belittle yourself. As long as I'm here, at least one of your and Rangrang's future soul rings will never be less than 100,000 years old. That's right, Guran. Don't underestimate my brother Jian. What he said has never come true. Ning Rangrang completely trusted Tianlin blindly, but what she said was the truth, and Tianlin agreed. Never go back on your word when it comes to other people's affairs. Seeing this, Guran nodded firmly. If possible, who could refuse the temptation of 100,000-year soul ring? Looking at the 3 people in front of them, Ning Fengzi and others showed proud expressions. They have grown up. The younger generation of their Qibao Glazed sect has begun to grow up. With Tianlin as the leader, looking at the entire continent, there is no other force that dares to compete with their 7 treasures Glazed sect for supremacy in the younger generation. The golden generation of Wuhan Palace. Haha, it's just an ordinary character. Okay, Xiaoshan, Rangrang, and Guran, I have gathered the 3 of you here because I have something important to say. Ning Fengzi said seriously. A few days ago, I received a letter, which was addressed to Xiaoshan. Oh my god, there's no signature. Moreover, the person who came to deliver the letter seemed to be a puppet controlled by others. He was only willing to hand the letter to Xiaoshan, me or Uncle Jian. A letter without a signature? Tianlin thought for a moment. Uncle Ning, could it be that what is written on it is information related to the soul hunting operation? He thought of Hulina, who probably used her charm type soul skills to control a random person on the street, and asked him to bring the letter to the 7 treasures Glazed sect. Ning Fengzi looked at Tianlin. Yes, it seems that Xiaoshan, you already know who sent the letter. It contains an extremely detailed plan. I just want to ask you now, is this letter true? Tianlin nodded firmly. It's absolutely true. Don't worry, Uncle Ning. Chapter 265 Little Angel gives for nothing preparations to counter the soul hunting plan. Tianlin told Ning Fengzi and others about the process of controlling Hulina in the killing city. Ning Fengzi nodded with satisfaction. Well done. At this time, controlling Hulina will definitely bring more benefits than killing her. Thank you. I learned this from Uncle Ning. Tianlin didn't dare to take credit for such a despicable and shameless method. Gurong looked at the father-in-law and son-in-law in front of him. Each of these two people was more scheming than the other. Although Tianlin's swordsmanship was taught by Chenzin, his conduct as a person kept moving closer to Ning Fengzi. He was white again that year. The stupid boy is getting more and more sinister now. Brother Jian, is it really as simple as asking Hulina to do things for you? After being controlled by you, he is completely asking for everything from you, right? Ning Rangrang looked at Tianlin with a smile, but this smile, how do you see it? It was dangerous, and the jade-like hand had been placed on Tianlin's waist at some point, ready to complete a 720-degree Thomas pirouette at any time. Of course not. I stabbed her directly, and then controlled her. How could I be interested in her? Tianlin quickly denied. Ning Rangrang looked at Tianlin suspiciously. Normally, she had great trust in her brother Jian, but Hulina was too beautiful and charming. Although she was no worse than her in appearance, when it came to seducing men, even 10 of her could not compare to Hulina. Ahem. Ning Fengzi interrupted the two of them with a cough. Now is not the time for them to flirt. Xiaoshan, Hulina's letter said that the night of 5 days later will be when the soul hunting plan officially begins. I watched the sky, and it happened to be a starless night with dark clouds. She even wrote us the list of participants she knew, which is very important information for us. It was not in vain that Tianlin had spent so many methods. It was indeed the right decision to control Hulina at the cost of lowering the level. With the exact time, they could prepare in advance on the day. Ning Fengzi had been worried about the soul hunting operation and kept calculating the exact time every day. At this moment, Yin Yang suddenly rushed in anxiously, holding a letter in his hand. Sect Master, I have something very important to report. Grandpa. What's wrong? Tianlin asked doubtfully. Yin Yang, who was in charge of intelligence, rarely got so excited. Xiaoshan, it's great that you are here too. Someone from the palace just sent a letter to you, from Zuking, inviting you to go to Xiandao Palace in the evening 5 days later. Yin Yang explained. No wonder he was so excited. During this period, he had been ordered to monitor the movements of Xiandao Palace, and he was naturally well aware of the recent abnormal situations in the palace. The major military generals have chosen to stay away from the court. Emperor Zhu Yi is seriously ill, and the imperial army is controlled by Zuking. This is not the best time to launch a soul hunting operation. At this time, Zuking suddenly and inexplicably asked Tianlin to stay in the palace for a while, and also limited the night to 5 days later. What is the difference between this and telling them the exact time? Everyone here can see that she hopes to save his life because of her past friendship with Tianlin. These little angels from Qianjia are all for nothing. Tianlin muttered to himself in disbelief. Ning Fengzi also had a dull look on his face. It was okay for the two Chinzin Gurong who only knew how to fight, but how many brain cells did he and Tianlin spend in order to get the information about the soul hunting operation? Title Douluo Yin Yang monitors the movements of the palace day and night. Tianlin's million-year soul skill predicts the future and is ready at any time. He also controls Wuhan Palace Saint Hulina. In Ning Fengzi's secret room, he wrote no less than 10 a set of forecasting plans. In the end, they were told that someone would tell them the exact time before the soul hunting operation was about to begin, which made them feel embarrassed. Of course, this is also because Qian Ringsu does not know that they already know what is going to happen in the soul hunting operation. Otherwise they should not do such a stupid move. Brother Jian, do you have anything else to explain? This time it was no longer a matter of words but of hands. Rangrang's hand on Tianlin's waist had completely twisted the flesh on his waist. Ning Rangrang was still smiling, but the sound of grinding her teeth clearly showed how angry she was a few days ago when she learned from Ning Fengzi that Zuking was actually a girl. She almost drank up the entire Qibao glazed sect's jealousy in one breath. You know, the time Tianlin and Zuking were alone together, but no less than her being alone. Who knows what happened? She was even worried that her brother Jian was no longer pure. Looking at the jealous Ning Rangrang, Chenzin, who had always regarded her as his own granddaughter, not only did not comfort her, but calmly picked up the teacup in front of her, took a sip and said, "You are indeed my disciple, the Holy Father of Wuhan Palace An." The two great saints in the enshrinement hall will both be given free of charge. This is a sure thing. Tianlin glanced at his master blankly. Master, are you trying to make a fool of yourself? The dignified swordsman chimes in. When did he learn to tease his apprentice? Haha, okay, stop making trouble. Rong. I want to bully your brother Jian. Wait until night. You go down first. Uncle Jian, Uncle Gu, you are responsible for gathering all the strong men of the sect. Uncle Debu, please be responsible for preparing supplies. Pearl and Rangiran, you are responsible for gathering the younger generation. This time it is the responsibility of the entire sect. Everyone must do their part. Ning Fengzi looked much more relaxed. Point in this world, there is no weapon stronger than intelligence. Now that they have definite information, they have no fear of this soul hunting operation. Yes. After hearing Ning Fengzi's order, everyone immediately took action. Only Tianlin and Yunyang stayed. Since Ning Fengzi didn't arrange work for them just now, he must have other instructions. Uncle Ying, please fly to the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family and give this letter to Yu Yuansen. Ning Fengzi has not forgotten the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family. If Wuhan Palace wants to take action, it will not just deal with it. Their family. Even if he forgets, Tianlin will not forget. After all, Yu Xianheng is his brother, and Du Guyan has always treated him like a biological brother. Grandpa Ying, I would also like to trouble you to take a detour to Xiandao City to deliver me a letter and a message to Zuking, saying that I'm now at the critical moment between level 69 and level 70 and have no time to distinguish. Come with your heart. Tianlin took out the letter he had prepared long ago from his arms. Yun Yang looked at the signature of the recipient. Shi Lei, the grandfather of the Shi brothers, nodded and said, don't worry, Sect Master, Ocean, I'll be back soon. Yin Yang fluttered his wings and flew away. Ning Fengzi finally looked at Tianlin and said, Ocean, if your mind-taking technique is aimed at soul masters around level 40, how many people can you control at once? Tianlin was stunned for a moment. He didn't know why Ning Fengzi would ask such a question, but he still answered truthfully, a soul master of this level, if I exert my full strength, I can control 180 people in one go. Ning Fengzi nodded. Very good, that's enough. Ocean, I have something to tell you. Chapter 266. The Spirit Pearl transforms into a ring, the land of 5 spirit immortal techniques. After walking out of the Qibao hall, Tianlin was still in a daze, because Ning Fengzi told him something that was basically impossible, but had to guard against. If what Ning Fengzi infers is true, then this soul hunting operation is far from as simple as the original work. Fortunately, in addition to Tianlin, a prophet and foresight, their sect also has Ning Fengzi, a wise man. Otherwise, Tianlin alone might still be plotted. Who said that time travelers can definitely play tricks on everyone? In fact, these natives are more scheming than the last. Tianlin sighed. After all, he was just an ordinary otaku in his previous life. Although under the guidance of Ning Fengzi these years, he is constantly learning various strategies, but if he really wants to compare with these scheming and powerful masters, he is still far behind. Now that he knows that there are still 5 days left before the soul hunting operation, Tianlin must be fully prepared. Regarding the internal affairs of the sect, Ning Fengzi has to decide, and what he has to do is to make his own within these 5 days. The strength has been sublimated again. After going back to meet his parents, Tianlin went straight back to his room and took out the Earth Spirit Bead. Ocean, your Earth Spirit Bead contains extremely huge energy, but how do you plan to use it? I think those ferocious beasts can at most use this bead to speed up their cultivation, but that doesn't mean much to you now. Tianmeng Bingzi said. It's right. After reaching level 70, Tianlin has completely gotten rid of the drag of ultimate attributes. He tried meditating not long ago and found that the speed of soul power condensation was more than twice as fast as when he was at his peak. I'm afraid that it is Kan Ringsu who has far exceeded the 20th level of innateness. Therefore, for the current Tianlin, the power of Xiangsu and the 2 eyes of ice and fire are not of great help to him. No, the moment I held the Earth Spirit Bead, I felt that this bead has completely adapted to the rules of Douluo Continent. If my guess is right, it can be integrated with my Holy Spirit Bead and form a soul ring. Tianlin summoned the Holy Spirit Bead, used the Emperor Wa's technique, and tried to pull the Earth Spirit Bead over the toolings who express great joy, spinning crazily around Tianlin, drawing golden lines in the air as Tianlin's power accelerated. The line became more solid, and finally condensed into a golden circle, which was wrapped around the Holy Spirit Bead. It's actually real. This Earth Spirit Bead has turned into the second soul ring of your Holy Spirit Bead. Qian Meng Bingxi said excitedly, and then it realized something was wrong. Wait a minute, Xiaoshan, this Earth Spirit Bead contains the power is too huge, far exceeding my million-year soul ring. Your body cannot support such a huge power. Qianlin smiled slightly. Don't worry, the Earth Spirit Pearl will not hurt me. It is not produced in Douluo Continent, so it has no soul power. This soul ring cannot improve my soul power. However, it is a higher level power called spiritual power, used to temper the strength of my body and soul. Don't forget, what kind of skills did Uncle Ning teach me? The method of attracting souls and tempering bones. Qian Meng Bingxi blurted out. Yes, with this set of skills, Tianlin didn't have to worry about his body being exploded by two strong attributes. Tianlin stopped talking and used all his strength to activate the skills taught, binding Fengxi point at the same time. The other three soul bones, except the million-year-old skull and the attached soul bone, were tempered point, while raising the upper limit of the body, while increasing the physical quality. The huge spiritual power of this Earth Spirit Bead meets this technique, and it really complements each other. Moreover, the spiritual power of the Earth Spirit Pearl is far more advanced than the soul power of Douluo Continent. When Qianlin used the soul power of Qian Meng Ice Silkworm to temper it, the ratio was 5-to-1. It took 200,000 years of power to make the wind demon wolf. The leg bones have grown over 40,000 years, but the spiritual power of the Earth Spirit Pearl is 1-to-1. Qianlin can feel that when his body reaches the limit of endurance, the excess power will be about 200,000 years. Qianlin will use all of it to temper the Blue Silver Emperor and the Gale Demon. The soul bone of the wolf point after each of these two soul bones has an additional 100,000 years. They will no longer be ordinary 100,000-year-old soul bones, but ferocious beast level soul bones. The power of soul bone skills will inevitably increase greatly. Of course, tempering cannot be completed overnight. Qianlin is currently just introducing the 200,000 years of energy into two soul bones, and sealing them using the secret technique of soul-inducing bone tempering. It will take about several months. Only with time can it be completely tempered and completed. This soul ring transformed from the Earth Spirit Pearl is just like the soul ring produced by my Holy Spirit Pearl. The compatibility is so high. Brother Qian Meng, I feel that this soul ring will follow the same spirit bone as the attached soul bone. As my cultivation level increases, it will only be a matter of time before I surpass your million-year soul ring and even the legendary divine ring. Qianlin said with emotion. This is really abnormal. Not only is the power contained in this bead far more advanced than soul power, it can actually grow. Xiaoshan, your physical attributes in all aspects now have completely surpassed those of ordinary titled Douluo. Now they are more powerful than others. You are stronger, that is, your soul power is stronger, and you have 2 more soul skills. Qian Meng Bing judged. Qianlin chuckled softly. Haha, ordinary titled Douluo? I can beat them to death, and with the number of soul skills. Brother Qian Meng, do you really think they will be more powerful than me? You think I didn't say that? Qian Meng Bing's face was full of embarrassment. How could it have forgotten that Qianlin's 400,000-year soul bones, 1 million-year-old skull, and 1 million-year-old soul ring, and the ring transformed from the Earth Spirit Bead are not inferior in any way to the million-year-old soul ring? Coupled with the 2 soul rings that are over 100,000 years old on the demon sword, it is just a dream to compare the number of soul skills with him. Brother Qian Meng, this Earth Spirit Bead is the same as your soul ring. It has provided me with 4 more soul skills. The Earth Immortal spell, one of the 5 spiritual spells, has finally been activated. Qianlin was extremely happy. He finally got the 5 spirits immortal technique. The second soul ring soul skill of the Holy Spirit Orb 1. True energy body protection, earth defense magic large scale auxiliary soul skills, and double defense power 2. Tation presses the top, also known as the 5 mountains shifting peak technique. It is an earth element group attacking a mortal method. It is nourished by the earth and can be blended with everything. Those who are hit by this move don't need to think about collecting the corpses. They can just be the nutrients of the earth. Point 3. Earth Screen, which is completely immune to the opponent's earth type attacks, including god level ones, and cannot hurt Tianlin through earth type skills. It is an absolute defense 4. The technique of summoning gods. Mountain God summons the mountain god in the earth spirit pearl to assist in the battle. Although its strength is slightly lower than that of the martial god, it is still stronger than the current Tianlin. It is comparable to the Super Douluo level, and it can be summoned by Tianlin together with the martial god. However, doing so consumes a lot of Tianlin's soul power and mental power. If only one of them is summoned, with Tianlin's current soul power, it can probably be it lasts for 5 to 7 minutes. If the two gods are summoned together, Tianlin can be hollowed out in 1 minute. Although the time is short, this can be regarded as a move to reverse the situation at a critical moment. Seeing Tianlin's power, Qian Mengbingtian conjured a phone out of nowhere and said, "Hey, God Realm, help me book a God King level VIP high-end seat in the God Realm committee. The level of luxury should be as high as est. Planted. What? I'm a soul beast, so I can't become a god. Do you know whose thigh I'm holding? By the way, put more ice cubes on the seat. I will bring my Bing Bing up with me when the time comes. She doesn't like hot places." Looking at the incoherent Qian Meng ice worm, Tianlin shed a cold sweat. This guy has been following him for too long. He has learned nothing else, but he has learned 70% of the tricks he used in his previous life. Chapter 267 Pre-war deployment of soul hunting operation. The last few days passed very quickly. In these days, all the high-level combat forces of the sect were gathered together. 5 titled Douluo, 15 soul Douluo, and 88 soul saints. This is the sect. The strongest strength has reached this point, and there is no need to hide anything. Ningfengzi informed everyone about the upcoming soul hunting operation. The reason why he has been hiding it until now is because he knows how to make a big effort and then lose it 3 times. If it were told in advance, everyone would live in worry and fear, worried that this day would come suddenly, and many people might even defect from the sect in order to survive. But at this moment, they have no way out. Knowing that they are about to be destroyed, these people who can become strong only have huge anger and resentment in their hearts. Have they offended Wuhan Palace, or what have they done? The thing about criminals taking human life seriously? Wuhan Palace must destroy them. Everyone. Wuhan Palace regards our Qibao glazed sect as an enemy and is preparing to destroy our entire sect. I only ask you, do you want to sit back and wait for death, or are you willing to surrender without a fight? Ningfengzi asked in a deep voice. I don't want to. The sect treats me with great kindness, and I will never surrender until I die. Everyone below roared. Very. But, since we don't want to die or surrender, then there is only one battle. Everyone listens to the command of me and the 4 elders. Today, we want the people of Wuhan Hall to come back and never come back. Ningfengzi said domineeringly. Although he is an auxiliary type, but facing the people who are about to destroy his sect, the murderer Sora in him at this moment is as strong as those lunatics in the killing city. Xiaoshan, the younger generation is under your command. They also have tasks. Ningfengzi looked at Tianlin and said, "Yes, sect leader." Tianlin nodded and stepped forward. Ningrangrong, Duran, Mahangjan, Mengyiran, Oscar, and Yilingling, come out, boss. Please give me your orders, and you will not hesitate to risk my life today. Duran was extremely angry. The sect was his home, and his friendship with the sect was no less than that of Tianlin and Ningrangrong. Okay, listen. According to the news I got, Wuhan Palace's operation is divided into 2 parts. The mid to high-end combat power from Soul King to title Douluo will directly hit our Qibao city. In addition, there will be many ordinary people around level 40. Combat power. The target is the village at the foot of Qibao Mountain. Operation Wuhandian has always been about eradicating the weeds. These villages have relied on our sect for hundreds of years. Once a soul master is born among them, they will basically all join our 7 treasures glazed sect. They can be regarded as a part of the sect. We cannot leave them alone. The 6 of you will be divided into the 3 teams, Ningrangrang and Menyeran, Mahanjan and Oscar, and Guran and Li Lingling, each lead the younger generation of the sect to save the village at the foot of the mountain, and must annihilate all those who attack the innocent villagers. Don't leave a single person alive. After living in the killing city for 2 years, Tianlin had long lost the unnecessary kindness of a woman. Moreover, the battle between the 2 sides is a competition between soul masters and armies. It has nothing to do with ordinary villagers. Anyone who attacks them, regardless of whether they are acting under orders or not, is no different from an animal. Everyone has his own way of death, and he will deserve to die. Don't worry, boss, I will burn them all to ashes. Mahanjan vowed. Seeing this, Tianlin smiled slightly and said, very good, you just have to have such courage. By the way, according to the news I got, the Xiangjia sect also participated in this operation. That old guy Hu Yansan wanted to take credit for his grandson. And he doesn't want his grandson to be in danger, so he will definitely be sent to do some safety work, so he will definitely appear in the team that attacks the village. Do you remember, that guy has a skull on his body, and it is as old as 40,000 years old? Imperial Golden Elephant Skull, give you a chance to compete fairly. Whoever takes his head will have that soul bone. 40,000 years. This is longer than the age of my flame right arm. It's really great. I want to make a decision. Mahanjan said with bright eyes. Who says it must be yours? I don't have a skull on my body yet, and a power type skull like the Imperial Golden Elephant is obviously more suitable for me. Guran on the side was not to be outdone, although he already had 3 soul bones on his body. But who would dislike having too many soul bones? Ning Fengzi nodded with satisfaction upon seeing this. Tianlin's arrangement was very appropriate. With Guran's current strength, it would not take much effort to deal with the group of guys attacking the village at the foot of the mountain, and the danger would not be great. He also used soul bones to arouse their fighting spirit, and when the time came to fight, they would be even more excited. More importantly, he arranged for them to ambush at the foot of the mountain in advance. Tianlin had already considered that, if the people on the mountain were defeated, they would be able to evacuate as soon as possible to save the last bit of blood for the sect. One day, the sect will surely be revived. Don't worry, Xiaoshan, we won't lose. Chenzin stepped forward and patted his apprentice's shoulder to encourage him. After today, not only the sect, but your reputation will also be resounding throughout the continent. He was telling Tianlin that he no longer needed to hide, and that his 100,000-year soul ring, soul bone, and second martial soul could all be revealed to the world. Tianlin nodded. He was on the verge of life and death. What else could he hide? At this time, in the Xiandao Palace, Zuking was pacing back and forth anxiously, because tonight was the time to take action. She had clearly made an appointment with Tianlin to come to the palace to get together tonight, but until the time was approaching evening, Tianlin did not show up. At this time, a palace maid hurriedly ran in. Your Highness, this is a letter sent to you by someone from the Qibao Glazed sect. Hearing this, Zuking took the letter and opened it. It was Tianlin's handwriting on it. Not only did he reject her invitation, he also wrote a message on it, a message that made her even more determined to kill the Qibao Glazed sect. The paper fell to the ground, and Zuking looked desperate. Was this all destined? The only person she wanted to save, she missed the chance to live. In the corner, a figure appeared, sighing lightly. Young master, everything is fate. It is always impossible for you, and that sword master. Do you still remember what you promised back then? If you break it, you will break it, uncle. I understand. A drop of clear tears fell from Zuking's face, and soon her expression became firm. The soul hunting operation continues as usual. Qibao Glazed sect, kill without mercy. Yes, young master. Shi Long dodged away directly. He was also one of the titled Douluo. He had such huge combat power, and happened to be in Xiandao. Naturally, he would not be absent from today's battle. Seeing Shi Long leaving, Zuking took out the love sickness gift from Tianlin, and choked with sobs. I think you will never recognize me. Although I care about him, between him and Wuhan Palace, during this time, I still chose to sacrifice him to fulfill the most noble ideal of my Wuhan Palace. Zhu King looked in the direction of Qibao Mountain and murmured, Xiaoshan, I'm sorry. If there is an afterlife, I hope we won't be hostile anymore. Then, I will do everything I can to make up for the mistakes in this life. If Tianlin were here, he would definitely be very confused, because he didn't write any letter to Zuking at all. He just dragged yin yang with a sentence. This letter was written by someone imitating his notes. There are only a few people who know his handwriting and speaking habits so well, and Ning Fengzi is the most thorough among them. It seems that the sect leader is planning something again. Chapter 268. The soul hunting plan begins. Late at night, Qibao City is as quiet as before tonight, or in other words, quieter. The residents in the city have already been moved to the back mountain. By Ning Fengzi point, the reason why people's houses are still brightly lit now is actually an illusion created by Ning Fengzi to confuse the enemy, and the people inside are all soul masters under the cover of darkness. An army of nearly 10,000 people has quietly assembled at the foot of the mountain. Even if these 10,000 people encounter 100,000 regular troops, they can defeat them all within half an hour, because they are all soul masters. Among them, there are several titled Douluo. Ah, you here? On the roof of the Qibao Hall, Tianlin opened his eyes. His murderous intent had not exploded yet, but the temperature around him had gradually dropped. Today, he was going to go on a killing spree. Gilu. At the gate of the city, a young man swallowed subconsciously. His name was Xiao Yi, and he was the gate guard of the Qibao Glazed sect. His martial soul was an owl like Flanders, and he had extremely strong investigative abilities. Having already known what was going to happen today, he was inevitably a little nervous. Don't be afraid, Xiao Yi. No matter how strong your opponent is, I will face it with you. Qinming stood next to Xiao Yi and said, he has been promoted to Soul Saint and is considered a mid to high level figure in the Qibao Glazed sect. And because of Flanders, he has always taken more care of Xiao Yi, who is also a cat-eagle martial soul. Yes, Lord Qinming. With Soul Saint beside him, he seemed much more relieved. At this time, a series of rustling sounds fell into his ears. Although they were very soft, these sounds were like a sea tide, coming from all directions. Enemy. Attack. Xiao Yi roared with an almost shrill voice, so clear in the silent night. A spear flew toward him, and was about to pierce his chest. Qinming, with quick eyesight and quick hands, stretched out his hand to stop the spear, and raised his right hand to the sky. A huge fireball bloomed towards the sky. Damn it, there is a master among the people defending the city, and he has sent out a signal. An elder in the Wuhan palace said angrily. At this time, a little sneak attack is useless. It will only be defeated by them one by one, and the loss will be even greater. The whole army obeys the order and attacks with force. Following the voice's command, countless black shadows rushed out like a tide, heading straight for the Qibao Glazed sect castle. At this time, the Qibao Glazed sect castle, which had received the alarm signal, was already shining brightly. Haha, it's exactly what the sect leader said. It's impossible for the Wuhan palace to give up the soul hunting operation. At this point, once discovered, it will inevitably turn from a sneak attack into a strong attack to speed up the efficiency of the operation. Qinming said with a smile. The Qibao Liuli belongs to. Listen to my command. Zhuge divine crossbow. Fire volley. On the city wall, a row of disciples had already stood at some point, facing the tide of spirit hall pioneers. Tang San's Tang sect hidden weapon came into play. These hidden weapons were even more powerful with the cooperation of the Dark Knight. Many of those soul masters died on the spot before they could see clearly what was being shot at them. Some of them even had no time to release their martial souls and died in extremely painful ways after 3 rounds of volleys. There were already hundreds of corpses under the city. Damn it, what is that thing? It's so lethal. A big man like a mountain of meat suddenly appeared and said angrily. With such a conspicuous target, the disciples of the Qibao Glazed sect would not fail to notice it, and countless crossbow arrows were launched with him as the target. The first soul skill, an iron wall. The big man shouted violently and transformed into a huge diamond mammoth. The Zhuge divine crossbow could not break his defense at all. It turned out to be the leader of the elephant armor sect, Hu Yansen. Have the elephant armor sect taken action? The use of hidden weapons will no longer be that great. Retreat. Qin Ming decisively ordered a retreat, and the disciples of the Qibao Glazed sect jumped off the city wall. Hu Yanzhen took the opportunity to knock open the city gate, and the Wuhan Palace troops poured in. They wanted to chase down the sect disciples, but they found that they could not catch up. They saw those disciples walking at extremely fast speeds with strange steps. He quickly fled into the inner city. "You bastard, massacre the city for me. Today I want not a single soul alive in the entire Qibao city." Hu Yanzhen ordered loudly. Many men in black began to break into residents' homes, preparing to kill. A Soul King kicked open a door, and there was a man and a woman inside. They hugged each other tightly, looking very scared. The Soul King smiled ferociously and said, although you are just ordinary people, if I want to blame you, it must be because you live under the protection of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect." Then he raised the big knife in his hand and prepared to cut it off. At this time, a small stream of light flew towards him without making any sound, but the Soul King's head had already been pierced. Hidden weapon, silent sleeve arrow. The woman raised her left hand and said with a smile, "Sorry, I'm proud to live in the sect, so you can go in peace." The Soul King always thought that the two people in front of him were ordinary people, so he was not prepared at all. He just stared wide-eyed and fell down unwillingly. The same scene happened everywhere in the city, and the screams of countless men in black resounded throughout Qibao City. "Sir, there is a situation in the city. There are no ordinary people in these houses. They are all soul masters. We were attacked by a sneak attack and suffered heavy casualties." A man in black who barely escaped with his life ran to Hu Yanzhen and reported the situation. "What did you say?" Hu Yan was so shocked that his eyes were splitting. He was about to say something when a majestic voice sounded from behind him. "What a waste. It took us so long to invade the city without even taking a single life." Hu Yanzhen saw the person coming and said respectfully, "Sir, the Qibao Glazed sect seems to be prepared. No matter the sneak attack or the first wave of strong attacks, they have failed. HMPH, in the face of absolute strength, what's the use of being prepared?" The man stretched out his hand and took a snake spear in his hand. At the same time, 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 3 purple, 4 black, appeared on his body. He was none other than Snake Spear Douluo. Shilong, the third soul skill, 9 shadow splitting slashes. Shi Long swung his snake spear and struck out 9 sharp slashes in one breath. He didn't intend to rush in and kill people, so he destroyed all the houses outside. Wouldn't it be more efficient? The fifth soul skill, transform into a dragon. The divine dragon swings its tail. A huge blue dragon flew out from the inner city. Its tail swept across, blocking all 9 slashes of the 9 shadow split slashes. 2 figures stood on the roof opposite Shilong. The blue dragon flew back into the hands of one of them and turned into a 3-meter long dragon staff. Dragon. Duke Mengshu, Snake Lady Chao Xiangxiang. Shilong looked at the two of them with fear. Either one of these two people is no match for him in a one-on-one fight, but together they are enough to compete with him. HMPH, Duke Long Mengshu, an affiliated clan of the Qibao Glazed sect and the leader of the Dragon Snake family, is here to teach Snake Spear Douluo his skills. Duke Long raised his dragon staff high, showing no fear even in the face of the title Douluo point. In the past few years, his level has been raised to the peak of level 89, and he needs some pressure to break through. Besides, Snake Woman has also broken through to level 70. Their Dragon Snake combined attack is stronger than before. Chapter 269 Tianlin vs Lingyu and Douluo Demon Bear Douluo. Unparalleled Dragon and Snake, since you are seeking death, I will grant you the 5th soul skill, Thunderous Explosion and Kill. How could Shilong really be afraid of a soul Douluo and a soul saint? Adhering to the principle of striking first, his snake spear was filled with strong thunder, and he rushed towards the matchless dragon and snake couple. Snake, blade, dragon, tooth, unparalleled. Dragons and snakes joined forces to fight back, and the gate of Qibao City instantly ignited the flames of war among high-level soul masters. Now both sides are still in the testing stage. The only tool that Snake Spear Douluo can use is the Beast Soul transformation, and the unparalleled Dragon and Snake has not used the Dragon Snake combination attack. It will be difficult to determine the winner here for a while. Because of the initial plot, it was difficult to attack the Wuhan Palace from the front of the city gate point, not only on the ground, but also in the sky. A large number of flying soul masters launched a dense attack from the air. The leader was a beautiful titled Douluo with the flame eagle spirit, titled Ling Yuan, destruction. Is so exciting. Spirit kite Douluo shook his wings, and countless burning feathers fell down. The 8th soul skill is so exciting. Her 8th soul skill is a large scale attack soul skill. No matter who or what these falling feathers touch, they will turn into blazing fire and burn everything. The disciples of Qibao Glazed sect showed fearful expressions when they saw such a terrifying soul skill. The next moment, a reassuring voice sounded to them. You bitch, you really don't look like a good person. Are you so hot-blooded? Then, I'll do it. How about I'll let you cool down for a while. The first soul skill, Ning Hangsu, the boundless and huge cold air began to spread. Ling Yuan and Douluo's fire met the ice, and was instantly extinguished without making any waves. It's young Master Tianlin, everyone said excitedly. No one knew better than the disciples of Qibao Glazed sect how terrifying their sect's #1 genius was. Jun Tianlin, as His Majesty the Pope expected, you have the ultimate attribute, but I didn't expect that in addition to the ultimate fire, you also have the ultimate ice. Ling Yuan and Douluo showed a trace of fear. She is of the fire attribute. She was extremely suppressed by Tianlin. Not only that, Tianlin actually used her first soul skill to defeat her 8th soul skill just now. This shows that this person's cultivation level has also reached an immeasurable level. 10,000 Sword Douluo. After image sword, Tianlin threw the magic sword into the sky, and the magic sword turned into 2, and 2 into 4. In just an instant, nearly 100,000 swords appeared in the sky, covering the entire sky. Go to hell. Kill the devil with 10,000 swords. Tianlin, who came out of the killing city, was extremely cruel and had to be merciful. Sorry, he had forgotten how to write it. Countless screams echoed in the sky, and hundreds of flying soul masters were directly pierced by the demon sword. Only Ling Yuan Douluo survived with her title Douluo level strength, but she was also struck by the demon sword. The gas swept away a lot of blood stains. Although she was titled dignified, she had no effective means of counterattack, because Tianlin attached extreme fire to each sword, and under the absolute attribute suppression, it was difficult for her soul skills to exert their power. Title Douluo. Ling Yuan said in disbelief. All the attacks Jun Tianlin has used so far have undoubtedly reached the title Douluo level. But how is this possible? It has only been 3 years since the Soul Master competition. More time. How could a mere Soul King reach such a level? HMPH, you ignorant boy, let me come and meet you. A voice like a bell sounded, and a huge blood demon bear was roaring and charging towards this side point surrounded by 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black. He is another titled Douluo, the 6th soul skill, bloodthirsty bear claws. Haha, bear claws? You are going to be outdone today. Tianlin grinned and opened his right hand. A golden soul bone appeared, and his fingers turned into sharp claws. Soul bone skill, dark gold red claw. Boom. 2 huge bear claws were facing each other, and the entire Qibao mountain suddenly shook. Haoshan is hiding among the protected people in a hidden cave, and Tianlin's parents are also among them. The sound coming from the sect really made them uneasy. Even though they were so far away, they could still hear it clearly. Especially Jun Tianlin. As a soul master, he could fully feel how fierce the battle there was. It must be the highest level soul masters fighting against each other, and his children were also involved. This made him feel that his father was really useless, and could not even protect his own children. It will be okay. Xiaoshan, Rangrang and the others will be okay. Moran, an ordinary person, was helpless at this time, and could only pray to the gods devoutly. Perhaps her prayers had some effect. In the square of the main hall, the result of Tianlin's palm against Demon Bear Douluo was revealed. Tianlin did not move at all, but Demon Bear Douluo was shocked back 7 or 8 steps. His right hand naturally drooped, and all the bones inside were basically broken by Tianlin. The Demon Bear Douluo, who is famous for his strength, is of this level? Tianlin said disdainfully, his dark gold fear claws still emitting bursts of murderous aura. It's actually 100,000-year-old soul bone. Demon Bear Douluo was extremely angry. He was a dignified and titled Douluo, but his arm was broken by a boy under 20 years old in a head-on duel. Who could believe this? 100,000 years. Tianlin sneered, if you are blind, don't go out and look down on people. There is a limit. I'm 460,000 years old. How can the right arm bone of the dark gold terror claw bear be ordinary? 100,000-year-old soul bones can be compared to each other, but compared to the dark gold terror claw bear, you, the blood demon bear, are no different from a newborn bear cub. 40,000 and 60,000 years. How is that possible? Demon Bear Douluo and Lingyuan Douluo looked at each other. Ordinary 100,000-year soul beasts are rare, but they have never even heard of a 40,000-year soul beast. Even if it really existed, how did Jun Tianlin hunt down such a monster? Young Master Tianlin is so powerful. Many disciples of the sect saw that Tianlin was 1 against 2, and he was also a titled Douluo level powerhouse. Tianlin waved his hand. Anyone who belongs to the Qibao Glazed sect and recognizes me will follow me and rush forward. Today, the blood of those who have violated my sect will be shed like a river. We will follow you to the death. Tianlin opened the God of Killing domain. Because he accepted the Shura God exam, his God of Killing domain is somewhat special. Not only can he become stronger with his own murderous intent, but he can also absorb the murderous intent of others. He had just awakened the bloody nature of the sect disciples. With the help of the murderous aura absorbed from them, the scope and intensity of the Killing God domain had been greatly improved. All the men in black from Wuhan Palace were enveloped one by one. Their strength plummeted, and even the 2 titled Douluo were no exception. Devil, Bear, Jun Tianlin is no longer a genius. Lingyuan Douluo looked at Tianlin solemnly and said, he is a strong man who has fully grown up, and can rival our unparalleled strong men. Don't worry about bullying. Xiao, join forces to deal with him. Yes. Demon Bear Douluo nodded. Although he is missing his right arm, he can still exert the strength of a titled Douluo. 2 against 1, he should be enough to deal with Jun Tianlin. Chapter 270, Demonic Sword Real Body. The 7th soul skill, Flame Eagle True Body. The 7th soul skill, the true form of the Devil Bear, facing Tianlin, a mere soul saint. 2 titled Douluo actually use their martial soul avatars at the same time, which shows how much they value Tianlin. Lingyuan Douluo swooped down first, and at this moment, a bolt of thunder crossed the sky. 2 bastards, bullying my grandson. Do you think he has no elders? The 7th soul skill, Thunder Eagle True Body. The titled Douluo of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect finally took action. The first ones to appear were Thunder Eagle Douluo Yunyang and Poison Douluo Dugubo. Yunyang rushed directly towards Lingyuan. One of them was flame and the other was thunder. Both of them were eagle type martial spirits, and they were equally good in quality. In terms of level, Flame Eagle Douluo was slightly better, reaching level 93, but Yunyang also had something she didn't have, and that was soul bones. Among the 3 soul bones sent by Tang Heo, Ning Fengxi generously gave the right arm bone of the 1,000-ton Ant Emperor and the right leg bone of the bloodthirsty frenzy to Yin Yang as a reward for his decades of dedicated service to the sect. Harvesting 2 soul bones in one breath, his level broke through to the peak of level 92, and his physique was not inferior to a level 94 titled Douluo without soul bones. Therefore, in the first confrontation, Yin Yang had the upper hand, and Lingyuan was almost heartbroken by Yin Yang. Damn it, this old guy has become so powerful. What kind of strange power is this? Lingyuan could see that in terms of soul power and soul skills, she was undoubtedly superior, but in terms of physical strength, she was much weaker. She realized that she could no longer fight Yin Yang in close combat, so she quickly distanced herself and released the fire soul skill from a distance. On the other side, Dugubo did not face the demon bear because he was entangled by another person, that is the sudden appearance of the array Douluo. Stinging blood. Lanzu's combat power among titled Douluo is not very strong, but he has one characteristic, that is, he swallows poison. He can be said to be Dugubo's nemesis. He swallowed all the poisons released by Dugubo. Of course, there is an upper limit to his ability to swallow poison. Once Dugubo takes out the Snow Swan Kiss, he will probably be burst. But at the same time, this terrible poison will inevitably destroy everything. Point at that time, Wuhan Palace's soul hunting plan did not destroy the Qibao Glazed sect, but was destroyed by his own people. How unfair that was. Therefore, Douluo would not show his trump card until the moment of despair. The Wuhan Palace also saw this, so their real master hadn't appeared yet, and the array Douluo was enough to deal with Douluo. Point after all, what the 7 treasures glazed sect needs to be wary of most is the 7 treasures glazed sword and bone combination. When they broke into the Douluo Continent, their reputation was far from comparable to that of the Golden Iron Triangle, but now these 3 people have not appeared yet. Your Majesty Demon Bear, it seems that today you and I are going to fight alone. Tianlin held the demon sword in his hand and slowly walked towards Demon Bear Douluo. It flickered. There are actually 200,000 year soul rings? The demon bear was extremely horrified. Tianlin sighed. I told you, if you're blind, don't wander around. This 7th soul ring of mine is also a 460,000 year old soul ring. You should taste it today, under the ferocious beast soul ring. The real body of the weapon soul, the 7th soul skill, the true form of the magic sword, behind Tianlin, a huge shadow of a dark golden claw bear or angrily point in conjunction with the killing god realm. All the soul masters below level 60 in the Wuhan Palace were staggered by the roar, and even those with weak mental strength were unconscious. Although Tianlin's real weapon soul has not transformed into a beast soul, this soul ring fully carries the domineering power of the dark gold claw bear. Entering the true form of the weapon soul for the first time, and feeling the immense power, Tianlin's fighting spirit became even greater. Just go up and do a jumping chop, which is the heaven-shattering and earth-shattering sword technique of 7 kills. The 8th soul skill, Blood Demon Punch. Demon Bear Douluo felt a huge danger. He didn't want to consider the first 6 soul skills, so he chose to spend a lot of soul power to resist the attack with the 8th soul skill. This is the right thing to do. The martial soul avatar of an ordinary 10,000 year old soul ring is not at the same level as the 460,000 year old weapon soul avatar of Tianlin, especially the attack power. The dark gold claw bear has the ultimate. The metallic soul beast was killed by the Golden Lord. At this time, anyone who tried to block Tianlin's attack power with pure defense would be seeking death. The Devil Bear's 7th and 8th soul skills were used together to be able to block Tianlin's move of heaven shattering and earth shaking, but they couldn't gain the upper hand at all. This made him shocked and angry. Even a 95 level ghost Douluo could not suppress him to this extent. How powerful was Tianlin, the soul saint? Not bad, but unfortunately, you have overlooked one thing. That is, this is the Qibao Glazed sect. Tianlin sneered. When the demon bear heard this, he immediately panicked in his heart. The 7 treasures glazed sect had been colliding head on with them just now, causing them to ignore a very important thing. That is, the 7 treasures glazed sect was the #1 auxiliary sect in the world. At this time, 3 soul emperors who owned the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda suddenly stood up. The 7 treasures have names. The first is strength, the second is speed, the third is soul, the fourth is control, the fifth is attack, and the sixth is increase. In order to ensure the maximum increase efficiency, each of these 3 soul emperors was increased by 1 person. For a time, the strength of Douluo, Yin Yang and Tianlin increased greatly. The increase rate of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda that has reached the soul emperor level is 70%, and the 6-day increase is the current strongest attribute increase. For example, Tianlin, his strongest attribute now is attack. Then, while he gets the increase of 5-day attack, he also gets the increase of 6-day increase, and the two can be superimposed. In other words, the current Tianlin's strength, soul power, speed, and defense have all increased by 70%, but his attack power is 140%. Let's see it. The strongest enhancement of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda, the 4th soul skill, the flowing light immortal killing slash. The magic sword in the true form of the Tianlin weapon soul thrust out with endless power. The 9th soul skill, explosive demon bear break. The demon bear also used its strongest trump card to counter-attack. But the result was unexpected. As soon as his fist wind touched Tianlin's sword energy, it was split and melted in an instant. In the end, he used the 9th soul skill, but couldn't make any waves, and he could only watch the magic sword helplessly stab at him. Point at the critical moment, a long stick flew from the distance and hit the edge of the magic sword. Peng, the magic sword energy was deflected, and Qibao mountain was fine. However, a large mountain opposite Qibao mountain was covered by this endless sword energy, starting from the top of the mountain and running through it in a diagonal straight line to the other side of the mountain. A huge cave opened from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain, and Tianlin's sword penetrated directly through the entire mountain. What kind of attack power is this? Demon Bear Douluo was completely stunned. If someone hadn't saved him just now, I'm afraid he would have turned into dust by now. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271. The martial god comes to the world and Tianlin reaches full strength. The blow just now caused Tianlin's arm to hurt. The skill of the person coming was unimaginable, at least not under Bone Douluo. Ignoring Demon Bear Douluo, who had completely lost his will to fight, Tianlin looked at the flying thing, a long red stick with a striking divine dragon carved on it, coiling dragon stick. Tianlin recognized this martial spirit. Although he had never seen it with his own eyes, he could guess it, based on this image alone. He asked, I don't know which senior from the consecration hall is here. Qianjin Douluo, or Demon Conquering Douluo. Oh, a junior actually knows my existence. A man wearing red battle armor descended from the sky, standing on a coiling dragon stick. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes. He looked young. Except for Qibao, these titled Douluo were all very well maintained. Like Kendo Chenzin, although he has white hair, he has a youthful face, and is extremely handsome. I am Demon Conquering Douluo, the 7th enshrined in the Spirit Hall. The visitor introduced himself. Tianlin smiled bitterly. I thought that the enshrinement hall would send at most one person, but I didn't expect that even you are here. You really value our Qibao Glazed sect, huh? Send one person at most? Hearing Tianlin's words, Demon Conquering Douluo became cautious. From what you said, it seems that we had expected that we would send an offering, and the person who came was not me. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. No matter one or two, whoever offends a 7 treasures glazed sect will be killed without mercy. Even when Tianlin faced the Demon Conquering Douluo, he did not take half a step back. The body did not dissipate, and he flew forward to strike first. After all, he is just a soul saint. Although his combat power has reached the level of a titled Douluo, his soul power is not deep enough, and he cannot use the soul avatar as a regular battle state like a titled Douluo, and he can use it as he wants. Even for ordinary soul saints, the 7th soul skill needs to be used desperately. After using it once, it will make you weak for several days. Only by truly reaching the title Douluo can you perfectly control the martial soul's true body. The 3 realms are extinct. Tianlin quickly slashed out a sword and integrated the 7 kills sword technique into the 7 kills sword technique, making his sword energy even sharper. I'll let you taste the power of the coiling dragon stick today. Demon Conquering Douluo was unhurried. The divine dragon carved on the coiling dragon stick seemed to come to life. The huge dragon tail wrapped around Tianlin's sword edge, making it he couldn't move, and then the coiling dragon staff suddenly grew in size and slammed towards Tianlin. The 3rd soul skill, Demon Subduing Shock. It is rumored that the holy golden dragon of heaven's awakening is sealed in the Demon Conquering Douluo spirit. It turns out to be true. Tianlin smiled and said, however, your 2 against 1 is not fair. Tianlin saw that the demonic sword was locked by the holy golden dragon of heaven's wake, so he simply took it back and also released the martial soul's true form so that his consumption would be much smaller. I'm also looking for help. Senior Jiangmo, you should thank me, because besides my family, you will be the first person to see and appreciate the most powerful martial spirit in the world. On Tianlin's left hand, as time went by, all 7 soul rings disappeared, replaced by what seemed to be only 2 ordinary soul rings, 1 white and 1 yellow, twin martial spirits. Everyone in the martial spirit hall was horrified. Tianlin had behaved so evilly before, but now he actually told them that he was actually a twin martial spirit. The Tianlin they had seen before was nothing more than a monster. This is just the tip of the iceberg of all his talents. They actually the same as Bibi Dung's woman, a twin martial spirit? In the dark, a man in a golden robe frowned and said, "The seven treasures glazed sex foundation was deeper than he imagined. Fortunately, he came today, otherwise he really wouldn't be sure to destroy this place." Originally, his purpose was just to deal with Qibao, who might be desperate to poison him later, but now it seems that he has no choice but to take action. In advance. Sword Douluo and Ningfengzi hadn't appeared yet, but they were actually suppressed like this. HMPH, although they are twin martial souls, they only add a 10-year soul ring and a 100-year soul ring, which is completely useless. Demon conquering Douluo does not have the ability to identify treasures like Ningfengzi. In his opinion, the configuration of two soul rings, one white and one yellow, is really too shabby. Coiling dragon stick, down. Then, you should first experience the power of my spirit ring in the past 10 years. The first spirit skill, the art of summoning gods, the god of war. At the last moment when the coiling dragon stick was about to hit Tianlin, a dark and terrifying figure gradually emerged behind Tianlin and continued to grow in size, directly pushing the coiling dragon stick up. In the end, he transformed into a majestic general who was dozens of meters tall, wearing golden armor and holding a divine sword in his hand. The martial god pinched the 7 inches of the Xiangxing holy golden dragon. Just now, the golden dragon suppressed the magic sword, and now the martial god suppressed the golden dragon. Not only that, while the martial god was holding the heavenly awakening holy golden dragon with his left hand, he was also wielding the magic sword with his right hand with ease, and struck at demon conquering Douluo with one strike. Demon conquering Douluo quickly recalled the coiling dragon stick to resist. But this blow caused his internal organs to shake violently, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. "Master, Jiang Mo is actually injured." Everyone in Wuhan Hall said in disbelief. "How is it possible that the strength of the monster summoned by Jun Tianlin has actually reached the level of Super Douluo?" Jiang Mo gritted his teeth and struggled to hold on. In terms of strength, he was actually not as good as the opponent. That's natural. Tianlin's own strength is now at the level of a titled Douluo. Based on his strength, the more powerful martial god cannot even show the ability of a Super Douluo, and he is not worthy of the Holy Spirit Pearl. It is called the strongest god level martial spirit. Senior, subdue the demon. You should have some fun with the martial god first. The battle between me and the demon bear man just now was interrupted by you, which really makes me unhappy. In fact, Tianlin never hoped that the martial god could really defeat the demon Jiang Douluo, because with Tianlin's current soul power, the time for maintaining the martial god was very short, only about 5 minutes. As long as Jiang Mo resisted with all his strength, and when the martial god dissipated, the winner would still be he. However, Tianlin couldn't accept any of the loot. He walked up to the demon bear again, and his right arm turned into a dark gold fear claw again. Although demon bear Douluo was not stabbed in the vital part just now, he was still injured by the sword energy. Now he has no fighting power at all, and can't even move. He is about to become the first title Douluo to fall in Wuhan Palace today. Stop it. Jiang Mo shouted angrily. He had already taken action himself. If the demon bear was still killed, where would he put his face? But what happened to Guan Tianlin? He seemed to have turned a deaf ear. "Go to hell, your majesty." The demon bear. Stop. At this time, another disturber came. Accompanying this voice was a golden light wave, which was extremely powerful. All the houses swept by the light wave were instantly turned into powder, but this time Tianlin ignored the light wave and decisively used the dark gold terror claw to twist off demon bear Douluo's head, because he knew that, since the man from the enshrinement hall had taken action, his master would never remain indifferent. After all, the reason why Chen Xin and others have not taken action is because they are wary of him. Chapter 272 Chen Xin vs Golden Crocodile. Tianlin successfully killed demon bear Douluo, but also lost the chance to avoid the light wave. In fact, he didn't need to hide at all. The 6th soul skill, 10,000 swords return to the sect, Kendo. Chengxin finally showed up. He has been waiting for work until now, just to face the powerful enemy in the best posture. Countless 7 killing swords collided with that light wave, and eventually the power of both sides dissipated at the same time, regardless of the superior or the inferior, senior. Jin Crocodile, I don't know what happened to my disciple that made you so angry that you used such a level of soul skills against my disciple. Chenzin stood in front of Tianlin and said with his eyes closed. Golden Crocodile Douluo is older than his father. Even if Chen Jianjin sees him, he still calls him senior, so Chenzin is quite polite to him. A man covered in golden light descended from the sky and said in a majestic tone, Chenzin, you committed a heinous crime by killing me, the elder of Wuhan Hall. Today, he will undoubtedly die. After saying that, he looked at Tianlin and said, I just ordered you to stop. Why don't you stop? Stop? Why should I stop? Your Wuhan palace is trying to destroy my sect. I will definitely make you pay 1,000 times the price. Tianlin heard this and said disdainfully. Jin Crocodile shook his head. Ignorant people, in this world the weak are the strongest. If my spirit hall wants to destroy you, you should just wait for death. Trying to resist is an unforgivable crime. Since I have personally taken action, I advise you to kill yourself. That's it. Otherwise, the entire Qibao mountain will turn into dust. This golden crocodile Douluo seems to have been in the upper position for a long time, and even Daoli will give him 3 points. So a mentality was born that those who follow me will prosper, and those who go against me will perish. Commonly known as brain dead. Chenzin didn't want to pay attention to him and turned around and said to Tianlin, take your martial god back. Although he is very strong, it consumes too much of you. Just leave the rest to us. Tianlin killed the demon bear, suppressed the demon, and forced out the golden crocodile with one person's power. He was already the biggest contributor today. The older generation couldn't just watch. Tianlin nodded and used the Holy Spirit bead to face the martial god. Go back. The martial god's huge body was retracted into the bead, and the pressure of subduing the demon suddenly decreased. He half knelt on the ground and gasped for air. The power of this martial god is really terrifying. After his heavenly awakening, Holy Golden Dragon was suppressed. He actually had no advantage at all. If Tianlin's martial god could last for more than 20 minutes, he would definitely be defeated. If he could last for 40 minutes, his life would be in danger. However, he was happy too early. Before he had time to rest, a huge bone dragon's tail suddenly swept over. The experienced fighting demon quickly raised his coiling dragon stick to resist. It's a pity that he was too exhausted now and was seriously injured. Even if he took defensive actions, he was still swept away by this tail. He was swept directly from the inner city to the city wall. The city wall was knocked down by it, and the demon conquering fighter Luo's entire body was buried under the rubble. The person who took action was none other than Bone Douluo Gurang. He adhered to his consistent principles and his actions were extremely weird. Now he was at the same level as demon conquering Douluo, and it was a surprise attack. Therefore, even this super Douluo was caught off guard. Conquer the demon. Jin Crocodile was really anxious this time. The demon bear is different from the demon bear. The demon bear is just a subordinate, but the demon bear is a brother. You. 7 treasures glazed sect. You are seeking death. The angry golden crocodile was possessed by the golden crocodile king, with 2 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black and 1 red soul rings flashing on his body. He is one of the very few titled Douluo who can hunt down 100,000-year soul ring on his own without resorting to divine examinations, which shows how powerful he is. Don't be angry, golden crocodile crown, because today is not just about conquering demons and demon bears. You can't leave either. Ning Fengzi walked out of the 7 treasures hall holding the 9 treasures glazed pagoda. The configuration of the soul ring on his body made Jin Crocodile stare. He actually had 100,000-year soul ring just like him. Ning Fengzi not only broke the restrictions of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda, but also quietly became a titled Douluo. The title Douluo of the auxiliary system is still the strongest auxiliary spirit 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda. Jin Crocodile has to admit that, although Chenzin and Gurang are not as good as him in level, with the assistance of 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, the 2 of them can work together. After a battle with him, I'm afraid their soul hunting operation will fail today. Unexpectedly, Durang ignored him at all and rushed straight to the outer city. It was obvious that his target was demon conquering Douluo, Senior. Golden Crocodile, Feng Zhi and I are enough to deal with you. Chen Xin showed his full strength for the first time. His soul power fluctuations increased sharply, far from being comparable to the original 96th level, until he reached it stopped, when it was completely on par with the Golden Crocodile, level 98. How is this possible? Golden Crocodile Douluo completely lost his composure. It was because the 7 treasures glazed sect was hidden too deeply. He is able to rival the titled super monster Jun Tianlin, the best assistant in the world, Ning Fengzi, who has reached the titled Douluo level, coupled with Chen Xin, who has broken through to the 98th level of swordsmanship. His strength is extremely terrifying. With the help of Ning Fengzi, Chen Xin is now equivalent to 298th level. Titled Douluo, and can even compete with Qan Dao Liu. They only sent so few people, how could they possibly fight? Win, Senior. Jin Crocodile, please take this sword from me, and use the 7 kills kendo. Chen Xin seemed to teleport, and slashed at Jin Crocodile with one sword. Golden Crocodile's Golden Crocodile King, as a top-notch martial spirit, is not inferior to the 7 kills sword. The 2 strongest points of this martial spirit are its mouth with a huge bite force and the other's crocodile tail. This time, Golden Crocodile chose to use its tail to resist Chen Xin's sword. After just one confrontation between the 2 sides, the spread of energy overturned half of Qibao city. It seems that this place will need to be renovated in the future. When the 2 sides were in a stalemate, Ning Fengzi took action and directly entered the martial soul true body state. Except for the immortal body, all the other 1 to 6 soul skills were placed on Chen Xin. Similar to Tianlin just now, Chen Xin's strength, speed, defense, and soul power were all increased by 100%, and his attack power was increased by 200%. Now he is enough to rival extreme Douluo. Kill. Chen Xin faintly spit out the word kill, and the Golden Crocodile King's tail was cut off instantly. Seeing that the crescent-shaped sword energy was about to cut off his head, Golden Crocodile Douluo leaned back and narrowly avoided the blow. The sword energy struck the mountain opposite Qibao Mountain. The entire mountain was cut open like tofu. From a distance, a smooth incision could be seen. This mountain was very pitiful. It had just been penetrated by Tianlin into its belly. Now, and was cut off by Chen Xin. The Golden Crocodile spat out a mouthful of blood, and his tail was cut off. This was already an extremely serious injury. The 5th soul skill is shocking everywhere, since Chen Xin is following the path of killing. He will not hold anything back. When he kills people. The powerful sword energy was released in all directions, blocking all routes of Golden Crocodile Douluo. Chen Xin's determination is very firm. He not only wants to defeat Golden Crocodile, but it is best to capture him alive. If not, kill him. In short, he must not let him escape, because as long as he is captured or killed, Qan Dao Liu will definitely appear. The Qibao Glazed sect cannot rest easy unless Qan Dao Liu is defeated. Today they are going to use Golden Crocodile Douluo to drag Qan Dao Liu out of the enshrinement hall, and then completely defeat him in full view of the public. Chapter 273 Reversal of the Massacre. The fierce battle between Chen Xin and Jin Crocodile has reached a fever pitch. With the help of Ning Fengzi, Chen Xin is almost suppressing Jin Crocodile in the fight. Although he has 100,000 year soul ring, Chen Xin's 9th soul ring is actually more than 90,000 years old. This gap has long been smoothed out by the 9 treasure, glazed tile pagoda and far surpassed the past. As for the 100,000-year-old soul bone, Chen Xin also has it. This is the filial piety from Tianlin. Bearing the expectations of his apprentice, Chen Xin's every move contains extremely fierce murderous intent. On the other hand, Golden Crocodile Douluo has a high level of cultivation, but he has been in seclusion in recent decades, and has never fought with anyone. He has long lost his former vigor, so he was suppressed by Tang Heo, who was at level 97 in the original work. Fight. Now when you encounter the 98th level Chen Xin, the result will be even worse. Taking advantage of this period of time, Tianlin had been sitting cross-legged in meditation, recovering his lost soul power. The speed of the Huayan meditation technique was far beyond that of Tang's and Zuanshan technique. This was the technique that truly contained infinite vitality and endless life. No, if this continues, Lord Golden Crocodile will lose to Kendao Chenzin. The eyes of Douluo, who was fighting Qibao, rolled around and finally locked his eyes on Ning Fengzi, who was using his assistant's point who can't see that the difference in strength between Chenzin and Jin Crocodile is actually not that big. The reason why Chenzin has a huge advantage now is all because of the existence of Ning Fengzi, who doubled Chenzin's strength. The 9th soul skill, Poisonous Blood Divine Thorn, Soul Power suddenly exploded, and Stabbing Blood used his strongest 9th soul skill towards Qibao. Qibao did not expect that Stabbing Blood, which was originally in a stalemate with him, would explode inexplicably. At this time, both of them were in good condition. Using the 9th soul skill rashly is definitely not the right choice point, because although this sure kill move is extremely powerful, it also consumes an astonishing amount of energy. Once you fail to defeat your opponent, you will easily fall into passivity. The 8th soul skill, Time Freezing, Facing the 9th soul skill, even Qibao did not dare to be careless. He knew very well that the Snake Python Xiangang shield could hardly block the blood-piercing ultimate move, so he also used the 8th soul skill unceremoniously, and time was frozen. The martial soul can be transformed into a light shield to fight against the enemy. Anything that comes close to this light shield will be temporarily imprisoned in time and space. The poisonous sting that stung the blood could not get close to Qibao's body at all. Although this move consumed a lot of energy, it was still less powerful than the 9th soul skill. Qibao still made the profit. HMPH. Stabbing Blood smiled coldly. Qibao fell into the trap. He used the 9th soul skill just to force him back, but his real target was Ning Fengzi. The 6th soul skill, Riptide Thrust. The blood stabbed towards Ning Fengzi in a straight line. Qibao raised the corner of his mouth slightly when he saw this. So you are going to deal with Feng Zhi? Then I wish you good luck. He was not worried at all. After all, Ning Fengzi was destined to be completely different from the general auxiliary system from the day he obtained the 8th ring. He did not need anyone's protection on the battlefield. The 8th soul skill, 8th, 9 treasures divine light protects the body. Ning Fengzi's calm voice sounded, without any trace of panic. The 8th soul skill, that no one has ever seen in the 9 treasure glazed pagoda, once used, is immune to any attack below the 9th soul skill. Even the 9th soul skill can withstand 6 times without being destroyed. With a bang sound, the stabbing blood flew back at how fast it flew, and the huge repulsive force almost shattered his internal organs at this moment. Countless chains stretched out from nowhere, locking the blood tightly from head to toe. Is this a chain made of sword energy? Thorning Blood had heard of this move. Tianlin once used this move to defeat the Golden Generation in one fell swoop at the elite competition of the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy. It is said that when Tianlin, who only had the strength of the Soul King, used this move, it was powerful enough to kill the Soul Saint. If he uses it now, wouldn't it be powerful? Thinking of this, Thornblood's heart was shaken, and he looked at the sky in fear. Sure enough, there was a big boundless magic sword pointing at him in the sky at this time. Tianlin recovered part of his soul power through breath adjustment. How could he let go of such a good opportunity? My body is like a sword, and the human sword is one, and I'm locking the mind blade, the Xingxiao mind blade in the state of human sword fusion, and Tianlin's cultivation at this time is far superior to that of the past. The power of this sword is more than dozens of times greater than that of the past. Stab's body was seriously injured, and his soul power was greatly consumed. At this moment, he was completely helpless, and could only watch the huge magic sword crash down. The sword shadow of the demon sword struck the stabbing blood, and the sword shadow began to shatter piece by piece. Along with the sword shadow, the stabbing body was also shattered. Not long after, a dignified and titled Douluo was reduced to pieces of flesh, with no bones left. The enemy cultivator, I'm going to take off his clothes. Tianlin separated from the magic sword, and smiled as he landed in front of the bloody flesh. Qibao landed next to Tianlin. You little monster, what are you mumbling about? Your soul power has been restored. Internet. Famous meme, the old monster doesn't understand. As for the soul power, you can see it from the sword just now. It has at least recovered to the 3rd or 4th level. Tianlin said with high spirits. No wonder he was so proud. He killed 2 titled Douluo in Wuhan Palace by himself. This achievement, if told about it, would not shock the world. You really deserve a beating when you look so proud. Forget it, I can't be bothered to pay attention to you. From now on, you should stop fighting against the title level experts and concentrate on dealing with those miscellaneous fish. I will go and help the eagle deal with the Ling Yuan first. Douluo. After Bo finished speaking, he rushed towards the battlefield on Yin Yang's side. He was always worried about Tianlin. After all, he had not returned to his peak state. If he continued to fight against title Douluo, he didn't know if he could withstand it. That should be the job of old guys like them. Tianlin didn't insist either. After the deaths of Ore Douluo and Demon Bear Douluo, the balance of victory completely tilted towards the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, and there was no need for him to improvise on the high-end battlefield. Next, Tianlin transformed into the god of death and rushed into the crowd of Wuhan Hall who were fighting against ordinary disciples of the sect. For these people, the title level combat power was simply overwhelming. Soul King, Soul Emperor, and even Soul Saint all fell to the Tianlin sword. The original story was about the massacre of Qibao Glazed sect by Wuhan Palace, but now it was completely reversed. When Golden Crocodile Douluo saw the people from Wuhan Hall falling one by one, his eyes were filled with rage, and he wished he could kill Tianlin immediately. However, he couldn't hold on anymore, let alone deal with Tianlin now. Chen's and the attack power of his sword was too strong. Even if he tried his best, he could only survive. Just when the sect was gaining the upper hand on the main battlefield, the younger generation at the foot of the mountain had already taken action. Just as Ning Fengxi and Tianlin expected, those who came to attack the village would not be powerful soul masters. Most of them were in their 30s or 40s. Hu Yanli of the Elephant Armor sect was also among them. He was even a team leader when he had just reached level 50. Hu Yanxin originally wanted him to come to this place, where there was no danger, and do some credit. It's a pity that he is now the target of everyone in the younger generation of Qibao Glazed sect. Chapter 274 Ambush and kill Hu Yanli at the foot of Qibao Mountain. What's going on in this village? Are everyone sleeping so early? Hu Yanli's target point was Qibao village. After all, this was the largest of the many villages under Qibao Mountain, and it was also the hometown of Yin Yang, one of the title Douluo of the Qibao Glazed sect. Having served this place can be regarded as a small achievement. If you dare to touch my grandpa Yang's hometown, Sister Meng, we will poke a few transparent holes in him later. Ning Rangrang gritted his teeth in the grass outside the village. Meng Yiran has now broken through level 50, and her strength is about the same as that of Hu Yanli. However, with the help of her 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, it is not difficult to defeat Hu Yanli. Don't worry, eldest sister, I'm going to tear off this fool's head. Meng still didn't reply, but another voice rang out. Go. Ran, didn't you go to another village? Ning Rangrang said in surprise. It was agreed that the troops would be divided into 3 groups, but he actually left his battlefield without permission. Guren waved his hand indifferently. Okay, those who attacked the village are just a bunch of weaklings. I have left enough manpower there. On the contrary, here, there is a Soul King level master like Hu Yanli, which is of course more noteworthy. That's right, watch my phoenix fire burn him to ashes. Mahanjan also jumped out and said with tears in his eyes, His Majesty Thunder Eagle always took good care of me when I was at Shrek Academy, and today it's finally time for me to repay my kindness. It's time. These 2 guys, what they say is better than what they sing. Aren't they just interested in the soul bone on Hu Yanli's head? Ning Rangrang thought speechlessly. But she was too lazy to stop these 2 guys. After all, in her group, she and Meng Yiran already had head soul bones. The Imperial Golden Elephant Skull had no effect on them. It would be better to leave it to Guran or Mahanjan. Kill. At the entrance of the village, Hu Yanli gave an order, and the younger generation of the Elephant Armor sect and some other sects roared into the village and prepared to kill. But when they rushed into the village, they discovered that instead of going to bed early, the people in the village were completely deserted and everyone had been moved. In fact, this place is not empty. There were people in these houses originally, but when they heard Hu Yanli's order, they immediately took the invisible intestines prepared by Oscar in advance and completely disappeared. No, we have fallen into a trap. The Qibao glazed sect has been prepared for a long time. A young man holding the sword of wind said anxiously. It was Feng Mohang. It seems that the Wind Sword sect was also involved in the soul hunting operation this time. A mere elephant armor sect and Wind Sword sect there to offend our 7 treasures glazed sect. Ning Rangrang's eyes were cold, and he ordered in a deep voice, everyone listen to the order. With direct disciples to assist, the fighting soul masters will charge forward and ascend the flying divine claw. Qibao village was built against a mountain, so most of the disciples of the Qibao glazed sect were lying in ambush on the edge of the cliff, or at the foot of the mountain point following several calls of the 7 treasures. Countless flying divine claws flew out in the dark night, some hooked onto the house, and some even directly hooked onto the attacker's body point. The war soul master descended from the sky along the flying divine claws. An unknown number of 3rd and 4th soul skills were suddenly released, killing dozens of attackers in an instant. The 5th soul skill, Qibao Snake Shadow. Meng Yiren's target was directly at Hu Yanli. After all, it was difficult to pretend that he was invisible to such a big mountain of flesh. Damn it, there's an ambush. The 5th soul skill, Crazy Attack. Hu Yanli was somewhat confident in his own defense power and pushed directly towards Meng Yiren's snake staff point. Even with Ning Rangrang's assistance, Meng Yiren, who had a martial soul, was still inferior to Hu Yanli in terms of physical strength, and his delicate body was immediately shaken back. Yiren. Oscar took mushroom intestines and flew into the sky to catch Meng Yiren. Are you okay? Don't worry, Zioao, I'm fine. Meng Yiren shook his head and said, Diamond Mammoth is indeed a top-notch martial spirit that combines offense and defense. It is much better than my snake staff in terms of quality, but he must not be feeling well either. My Qibao and Snake Shadow are not so easy to catch. Hu Yanli hadn't noticed yet. Although he had just knocked Meng Yiren away with his body strength, there was a small cut on his shoulder, as if he had been bitten by a small snake. Qibao Snake Shadow, as the name suggests, this is a soul skill that favors weird attacks. Just now, Meng Yiren seemed to be stabbing his chest, but it was just an illusion. The real target of the attack was his shoulder, which had a relatively fragile defense point after all. Hu Yanli's level is not as high as Hu Yansen's, and his diamond mammoth can't cover his whole body point. Moreover, Meng Yiren's snake staff is poisonous, and Hu Yanli will soon be in misery. Senior Meng, let's deal with others. If this Huan's strength is better than the quality of Wuhan, let me teach him how to behave. Mahanjan excitedly spread his wings and rushed forward. Could his fire phoenix still lose to the diamond mammoth? Soul bone skill, Phoenix Explosion Strike. Damn. Fat man, it doesn't matter if the martial soul is of high quality. I have already broken through to the Soul Emperor. This prey must be mine. The soul bone skill, the Furious Brilliance Absolute Heaven Fist. Duran said not to be outdone. His skeleton warhorse was indeed inferior. Fire Phoenix is better, but his level is higher. The two soul bone skills hit Hu Yanli at the same time. Hu Yanli immediately felt the danger. One was a Soul Emperor whose level was much higher than his, and the other was a Fire Phoenix with a super high quality martial soul, and it also added the explosive attribute of fire. Even he wouldn't dare to take on 2 such powerful attacks. Brother, let's help you. 6 strong men hurriedly came to support them. They were the guys from the Elephant Academy team. Huayanba, Huayanshan, Huayanxi, Huayanqi, Huayangay and Huayanchi. Including Hu Yanli. The last word of the 7 people lined up. It happened to be a very majestic name. Unfortunately, they were still far from the legendary overlord. Ning Rangrang waved her little hand and ordered, stealth troops, surprise attack, Zhujiang new crossbow volley. Countless crossbow arrows suddenly shot out from beside Hu Yanba and the others. They didn't even feel that there was someone beside them just now, and they couldn't even possess the spirit in time. Oscar's invisible intestine not only hides the figure, but also hides the breath. It is a must-have product for home travel, intelligence exploration, and concealment of assassinations. Bang, bang. As 6 sounds of falling to the ground were heard, the entire Xiangjia Academy army was wiped out except for Hu Yanli. Brothers. Hu Yanli roared angrily. These are the brothers he grew up with, and now they are dead in one breath. Damn it, I want you to pay with your lives. Soul bone skills. Golden elephants to control the sky. The soul bone technique that I had no time to use because I was interrupted by Tianlin finally appeared today. Point behind Hu Yanli. There seemed to be a huge golden elephant roaring. The elephant flicked its trunk and swept away Mahanjan and Gu ran in front of him with an extremely powerful move. Point however, they now all have the defense boost of the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda, and they are not injured. Chapter 275. The village attacking troops were completely wiped out. As expected of a 40,000-year-old soul bone, even I, the Soul Emperor, was swept away without the use of soul skills to resist. Duran stabilized his figure and looked at Hu Yanli with burning eyes, as if looking at a prey. The more powerful the Emperor's golden elephant soul bone was, the more he wanted it. Point seeing that his attack was effective, Hu Yanli was about to strike again, but suddenly, he found that his whole body seemed to be paralyzed, unable to move at all. His blood was coagulating, and his soul power could not be gathered at all. Meng Yiren's poison began to take effect. Soul bone technique. Soul locking chain. Duran took the opportunity to use the new soul bone Tianlin gave him, and his soul power turned into chains to lock Hu Yanli's limbs, and then began to prepare a stronger attacking soul technique. The 5th soul skill, Phoenix Meteor Shower. However, someone moved faster than him, and Mahanjan took action directly. Tianlin had said that whoever takes Hu Yanli's head will be the owner of the soul bone. Point the explosive power of the fire phoenix surpassed the defensive power of the diamond mammoth. Point I saw that the diamonds on the diamond mammoth were becoming more and more fragile due to the flames, and some even began to melt. How is that possible? Hu Yanli was horrified. His diamond mammoth was never afraid of the fire type soul master after all. Even ordinary diamonds have melting point of nearly 3800 degrees, and he has cultivated to the soul king level, with a melting point of at least over 5000 degrees. Even so, he still can't stop the fat man's fire point. Since Mahanjan took Coxcomb Phoenix Sunflower, the flame has been continuously refined by the power of the medicine. Coupled with his hard work and hard training, that is different from the original work. Even if he can't spout the ultimate fire now, he is at least on the right path of cultivation. Point Feng Mohan wanted to step forward to rescue Hu Yanli, but was blocked by Meng Yiren. She already had a skull, and was not interested in the Imperial Golden Elephant skull. Get out of the way. Sword of Wind. Chapter of Storm. After several years of hard training, Feng Mohan finally mastered the last chapter of the wind sword technique. He slashed down with his long sword, blowing up an extremely powerful and cutting wind dragon. Snake staff technique. Meng Yiren was also born in a big family. Feng Mohan had the sword technique passed down from his family, and she also had the stick technique passed down from her family. Point especially after her level was gradually pulled away by Mahanjan and others, in order to maintain her combat effectiveness. In addition to increasing her training hours every day, she spent the rest of the time practicing the staff technique. Point moreover, Meng Yiren integrated her soul bone skills into the staff technique, and developed a new self-created soul skill. The poison skull she obtained back then. The soul bone skill is toxin enhanced, which makes the poisonous skull. The power of the snake staff suddenly doubled. Point the poison of the dragon god stings shocks the heaven and earth, and the purple light controls the purple golden snake. This is the essence of a new staff technique created by Meng Yiren. Point Meng Yiren waved his snake staff, and the terrible poison turned into a terrifying giant poisonous snake that glowed purple, and hissed from its mouth, and crawled quickly towards Feng Mohan. Point under the storm sword technique, the poisonous snake was quickly chopped into several pieces, but those broken parts did not disperse, but recondensed into small snakes just like that. One divided into two divided into four. At this moment, Feng Mohan seemed to have entered a cave of 10,000 snakes. These snakes are all transformed by the mixture of my soul power and poison. As long as my soul power is not exhausted, you can't kill them all. Meng Yiren said with a smile. Point in terms of soul power, she and Feng Mohan are between equals, but the problem is that there is Ning Rangrang behind her. Ning Rangrang is now the 58th level Soul King, and the increase of the 3-day soul has reached 100%, to the extent of 60. It can be said that Meng Yiren at this moment has real Soul Emperor level strength. Take This move is called Heopeng. Countless venomous snakes swarmed up and completely submerged Feng Moheng in an instant. Oscar beside Meng Yiren was so frightened that he broke into a cold sweat. Now he could only hear the screams from Feng Moheng. Just listening to it's permeating enough. What if he and Meng Yiren had conflicts in the future and the hot-tempered Meng Yiren used this trick against him? Feng Moheng was killed by Meng Yiren, and the Elephant Armor Academy and other men in black were all killed by the invisible troops created by Oscar. Hu Yanli was the only intruder left in Qibao village. Moreover, at this time, almost all the diamonds on Hu Yanli's martial soul, the source of his defense power, were melted by Mahangjin, and he was not far from death. Gu ran, and Mahangjin took action at the same time, preparing to take his life. In this case, Hu Yanli could die in the hands of any one of them. After following Tianlin for so long, Gu Ran had already learned a lot about Tianlin's despicable and shameless behavior. At certain times he looked back at Yilingling, who had not moved, and saw Yilingling winking at him with a smile. Although Mahangjin was also her friend, in terms of intimacy, he couldn't compare to Gu Ran. This time, she was going to help Gu Ran cheat. Seeing this, Gu Ran deliberately slowed down his attack pace a little, allowing Mahangjin to take action one step ahead of him. Haha, this soul bone is mine this time. The fourth soul skill, Phoenix Roaring Sky Strike. Mahangjin maximized his explosive power. The extremely hot magma spurted out from the ground. Even the Soul Emperor would not dare to withstand this blow with his body. However, Hu Yanli's limbs were chained, and he was completely unable to escape. Ah! Hu Yanli screamed in pain. Mahangjin said proudly. Done. Really? You should see clearly first before speaking. Gu then came, and around him, countless bones of ghosts and gods, the fifth soul skill, had condensed, which seemed to conclude that Hu Yanli was not dead. Mahangjin was stunned and looked at Hu Yanli, finding that he was really breathing heavily. Although he was severely injured, he was not completely dead. Hey, he's not dead. Is he Zhao Qiang's? Mahangjin was puzzled. The blow just now used all his remaining soul power. At this moment, he finally discovered that the petals flying in the sky were integrating into Hu Yanli's body piece by piece. This is Jiuxin Haitang. Holy shit. Gu Ran, you actually cheated with Sister Linling. He completely understood that Yi Linling was actually using her martial soul to help Hu Yanli hang his life. As long as Jiuxin Haitang is here, it will be difficult to die. This sentence is not just for words. Hey, I'm sorry fat man. This time, this soul bone is mine. Go to the ghost bone. Gu Ran launched the ghost bone, and Yilingling also withdrew his treatment. In an instant, Hu Yanli was stabbed into a hornet's nest by countless bones. The enemy is ashamed. I'll take off his clothes. Gu Ran struck a handsome pose and imitated Tianlin's tone. Sister Rangrong, you want to help me make the decision, but he cheated. Unwilling to do so, Mahangjin ran to Ning Rangrong and filed a complaint. Ning Rangrong looked embarrassed. Although Gu Ran's method was a bit despicable, it couldn't be considered cheating. To steal someone's head, everyone relied on their own abilities and used all available resources. Okay, little fat man, this Emperor's golden elephant soul bone is more suitable for me. At worst, I promise you that I will make up for you in the future. Gu Ran didn't want his eldest sister to be entangled, so he took the initiative to promise. Really? Mahangjin expressed disbelief. How could soul bones be so easy to obtain? HMPH, I'm my boss's #1 younger brother. Think about it. If the boss breaks his promise on anything he promised, I naturally can't embarrass him. After hearing what Gu Ran said, Mahangjin put aside his dissatisfaction, pretended to be indifferent, and waved his hands and said, it's not bad, so I'll just admit defeat this time. Seeing that the two of them had reconciled, Ning Rangrong smiled with relief and looked towards the top of the mountain. Brother Jian, all the enemies who invaded the village have been eliminated by us. How are you doing over there? You and father and all the grandfathers must be safe and sound. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.